Anybody out there with 2 eyes and at least 1 brain cell that halfway works can tell you this 100 Thieves roster looks way better than anything that we have ever seen before.
If Liquid do well at Champions, I firmly believe Navira is going to be the next Nats in terms of how smart and how insane he's going to be. Yeah. Do you know why we have a 1 extra slot? Do you know why that is? Do you know why we have 14s?
To give the worst region a better chance.
We won Berlin. That's why we got given an extra slot.
It's not like
we were
given it.
It's too heated.
It's not like we got a hand-me-down. It's not like we just got given it.
Velly's
we
overheating, bro.
My
Velly's overheating with
is
stress.
modding.
Yo,
my
Velly,
camera is modding right now.
I can't handle all your bullshit about
bullshit
settings, bro. I don't blame it.
Yeah, your camera's like, get this guy off. Get this guy off.
God damn it.
Oh my god. I know I don't need to ask y'all if you missed this because it's been a whole week away and I don't know how you made it through, but good job everybody. You survived. Welcome back to Valoranting. Great to be here again. Of course, I'm Mitch Leslie, joined by Mitch Man and Velly back on the show for the week of October the 17th. Let's start in reading order. Velly, what's going on, fam? Yo, you got that transplanted my streaming setup into a hotel room vibe going on there, my guy.
I got like a bootleg DDK setup going on right now, man. But yeah, I'm stuck here in Los Angeles because of the LQC NA that wasn't able to finish. And I said, F it, I'm gonna stay out here for even longer. And I'm excited. By the way, shout out to Valoranting. I missed it here, so thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, what's good? I mean, you don't have to fucking dip and start your own podcast. What's that about, guy? I mean, shit,
I went through some things, man. I'm sorry, man. All right.
Hey, you want to be the host?
Wasn't right.
You can be the host, man. I'll be on the left. That's fine. I'm good.
I had a Kanye moment. My bad.
I'll work. I'll build that cake. All right, let's talk about what's in the show, as opposed to just the lexicon of memories from my childhood past living out in the country. We got a bunch to talk about today. LQC NA. We're going to talk about it. The games that happened, and then we'll talk about the games that didn't happen. Of course, quite an interesting case study in trying to make an event happen right now. This time is back again. Shit. We're going to talk about roster moves as well. There are definitely going to be a few now in the shadow of LCQs all around the world. Obviously, F4Q being the most interesting of those, but there's some news out of EMEA that we want to talk about as well. And then we'll talk about the LQC EMEA. Yinsu's going to come by as well. We're going to talk about, obviously, the Liquid Bros and how that team has been able to sort of conquer a lot of the competition. We'll talk about the teams that rose and the teams that sort of disappointed us a little bit there. There's plenty of storylines coming out of EU. But let's start with North America because, well, we'll deal with the bite-sized piece of content first, right? First of all, let's just start with this. Here's the bracket. No, it's not in progress. I mean, technically it is in progress. It could be the longest Valorant tournament ever if we sort of pretend that it's still going. Velly, you were on site as the desk host.
Yes.
I think my withdrawal may have given you some longer days or some extra days. So I don't know if you're happy with that or not, but tell me, you guys looked ready to go. The set looked amazing.
Dude.
You guys had the whole squad out there.
No, the whole fucking squad pulled up. First things first. Okay, I met up with your Overwatch boys. And by the way, no one told me that all of you are fucking 6'8" Chads. Everybody over there are just like the tallest humans I've ever met in my life. So it was cool because Little Mitch,
Whoa.
he knows. I met most of the European Valorant talent. So like I loved, High Puck, Mitch, my boys and all. But I never met the NA side. We all met up, we linked up, we'd go to the bar out here, we'd have fun. Everybody was so hyped. Players were hyped. It was a really good experience, but it was just unfortunate that things happened the way it did. But I will say this, man. The matches that did happen on stage, you guys are going to hear about it soon with the yelling, the pop-offs and all. It was great, dude. It's a shame.
I mean, we started off right with this 100 Thieves team that had a ton of question marks above them in terms of, how are we going to look now without Steel on the roster? They bring Boy in and there's like whispers of 7 being sat on the bench and maybe getting used, maybe not.
I like it.
A lot of confusion about where this team was headed. And honestly, it's a tough start to the series. Now, look, it's Breeze, right? So this kind of map is always going to give you some interesting results. We'll talk about that with the European region later on here. But GenG looked pretty decent, right? It's one of those maps where nature gets flexed onto the Jet here. And obviously Nitro is on that role himself here. That door gets shut so many times in his face there.
No, honestly, like the whole switch and all, it makes complete sense. Even watching this Breeze map between this team, Anybody out there with 2 eyes and at least 1 brain cell that halfway works can tell you this 100 Thieves roster looks way better than anything that we have ever seen before. Nitro being on Jet was beautiful, by the way. And it just shows the type of depth that this team was able to have now. I'm going to be honest. I didn't know what to expect with 100 Thieves. A lot of people, because let's be honest, we love Still. Still is just that fucking guy. We didn't think they were going to be as dynamic or as good. A lot of people kind of wrote them off. I fucking love this roster. They look like every other team in Valorant now. They're playing with the meta. They use utility just out the ass now. It's not a question. But the biggest part about this team that's special to me is the sniping aspect. You take a look at Breeze. He go with the Marshall and the Nitro with the Op. They were like the fucking Bash brothers. They made sure that teams just got fucking punished with that long range rifle every single time. And to be completely honest, when the LCQ picks back up, I can't wait to see what else they have up their sleeve, because I think they're going to be way better than that with the time off now.
Yeah, obviously the shift to online is going to be interesting, but I mean, if it was kind of online anyway, so it might not be a huge change. It might be more convenient. Might be more convenient for these teams to play online, but from their own facilities. I guess there's also there's the wrinkle of 100 Thieves being based in LA, and we knew that there was challenges associated with that here. But anyway, look, a slow start in the series, right? Breeze goes in favor of GenG eventually, but 100 Thieves seem to be able to reassert themselves pretty well. We got a split here, and we know in the past that we've seen 100 Thieves do some weird stuff, right? They try to play like KO on this map quite often. That's not the case, right? We see Ethan, on the Sky, Boys on the Astra there, and they're able to sort of work GenG down a bit more comfortably here. Really, really good. Seriously, Ethan almost drops 30 on this map. Absolute impressive performance from him.
No, entirely. One thing I do want to say about GenG, when I was talking about this on the desk as well, GenG actually blew a lot of fucking rounds. I'm going to be completely honest. This whole series could have actually gone in the way of GenG. Like, I remember that one play when Nature was trying to blast back in the site as well. The timing of the blast packs knocked him in the air and then knocked his ass right back down. You take a look at Breeze when it came to Brimzo and also the Viper's Pit. I mean, the Snake Bite. Yep. Things are just poorly timed. And GenG, it seemed like it was more of them digging themselves in a hole than 100 Thieves actually being better than them, especially on this map right there. So, I don't know. The thing is, I want to see the beauty of that double elimination bracket. We're still going to see GenG still be able to come out and perform. But 100 Thieves, I like it. Asuna still did Asuna things, which is what we're going to talk about as well. But there's still a lot to be desired. I'm not really sold on Boy too much as well, though. He is a utility dumb guy, but there's moments where he was caught with his pants down, had the first shot, was able to finish kills, and that raised a lot of questions for me, actually. So, I mean, in the long run, I don't expect GenG to even be thought of winning that event. But if 100 Thieves goes against a team like XSet, shit, even Luminosity, shit, even FaZe, they might run into a lot of trouble, man.
Is it just teething problems with Boy, though? Because, I mean, when he was playing on a Viper, I didn't have too much of a problem with him. But taking a look at a shift over to Astra, especially on a map like Split, where, sometimes he's solo holding the B side or he's playing the support around middle. That's particularly when he's in mid. I feel like he just has a lot to worry about, trying to chain his utility across the map, make sure he's cycling it properly. I mean, look, yeah. That's
a highlight, yeah.
Doesn't look great, sure. But I think that, like, when he go taking the Viper here, and sort of Boy's role, he's the one that can be flexible. You can have Viper. If she's on B, she's not having much effect on A, right? If she's using her own utility. Whereas Boy is now in this position where he's not just worrying about B. He's not just worrying about Heaven. He's worrying about the whole map and trying to juggle all that util. And he only picked up Astra pretty recently, right? At least I think so.
As far as we know.
Yeah. So, like, I hope it's just teething problems, because I never had an issue with him on Viper.
Yeah, just look, I mean, I think he got a reasonable amount of criticism in general. I think it's obviously like a weird situation, because it might not even necessarily be Boy. It's also how he gets employed. When let's not forget we have someone new in the IGLC as well. So the way the Boy is sort of being piloted to a degree by Nitro, might also differ. I assume Nitro's, shouldering a lot of the IGLing here, as he mentioned in an interview that, it was not very foreign for him to move into that role based on, what he did, in Counter-Strike. Look, I think that the Icebox was definitely a big capitulation here from, GenG. Really not the kind of showing we're looking for. I thought Nature still had a decent a decent showing, over the course of the series, obviously on this Jet. But this was when, Nitro really got to stretch his legs a little bit more and have a greater impact. Steel is not on the team, but Hunter Thieves still have to fucking play from behind so often. You know what I mean? Like that aspect of this team's experience has not changed.
Mitch, how fucking crazy is it that 100 Thieves go on this crazy tear though, and then GenG almost always came back and almost won?
Yep.
How scary is that? That shit isn't acceptable. I was talking to Mimi about it, and Mimi said it on the desk. Shout out to Evil Cat Mimi. She popped off. She was like, how long can this shit really go on for? I mean, if you're allowing a team to really come back on you every single time, that's not going to be good in the long run.
Obviously, yeah, and you're right. In Icebox, that's not an issue there. In Split, there's definitely a bit of a run back from GenG on their defense. That was also a team, but that, with the temperature's more recent addition and that team being in flux a little bit, it's not like a great litmus test, I think, for 100 Thieves. I think 100 Thieves' next game is definitely a much better litmus test, but we'll get there because we got to talk about this next first round game. So I'm here. So for context, I'm like tossing up whether to watch because I'm bitter about a lot of things relating to Valorant and me working it, and then none of it's Riot or Valorant's fault, but it's just a feeling. So I'm in the gym, pumping some weights, getting angry, and I'll flick this on. And I'm going, what the fuck's going on in this XSet versus Luminosity match? The first map, I think to myself, hang on, what's going on? This fucking Haven game is absolutely garbage from XSet. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah,
is it like confidence? Is it momentum? Whatever it is, they just steamrolled them. These like late lurks on Astra is constantly getting like 2 or 3 kills around. I'm thinking, what the fuck, man?
I'm gonna be completely honest. Okay, I'm a motherfucking Gears of War guy. So
right.
we talk with our chest. Yo, Uber, you pop off too, man. So you know what the deal is. It is psychological warfare, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sitting at the desk and I just heard someone say, "You guys are doo-doo." And I said, "Who the fuck said that?" I turn around, me and the fro up mine, we start dying. I'm thinking it's coming from Dre. It is coming from the coach. It's coming from the coach.
Mac,
so
yeah.
when XSet won, like they popped off, right? Like they got loud. But then when Luminosity won, they shit talked them, and then the energy was gone, and it was called out from everybody. They were quiet, nothing was happening. There was no communication. And the thing is, so looking at this map, I can say that, and you'll be like, how do you know that for sure? I can say that with confidence because when you go to the next map, oh, dude, when you go to the next map, you start hearing Def and Aaron start communicating and IGLing so fucking loud and like play calling. It made such a difference. I think Luminosity really got the hands-on experience from this one, getting that big win because of the pop-offs and whatnot. But after that, XSet said, don't forget who the fuck we are. You guys saw us VCT Challengers playoffs. You guys saw us in those quals. We're the real deal. They just took over from there, man. But also, online.
yeah, obviously. I mean, what I found really funny? My favorite part of this was Mac. When he sat there talking, I mean, we'll show the clip, I think, a little later on. But he sat there talking shit, and he goes and calls XSet onliners. He's like, "You guys are a bunch of fucking onliners." I thought to myself, "Hang on, you're fucking online right now.
You're playing online.
You're online. This is an online event, bro. I don't know what you're fucking talking about." I guess, look, I was glad also to see, a bit of classic A Proto on that split map, especially, right? A nasty IM cracked out Cypher play, I was on split at the end of the series here. I think XSet really managed to lock it down. I think that many people had XSet as like a genuine contender to win LCQ, right? Especially in a world where 100 Thieves had reformed and like Cloud9 Blue was like not necessarily a certainty. I think a lot of people were like, yeah, XSet have a chance. There's these plucky teams like Rise Nation, who we never got to see, unfortunately. And, and XSet, who...
Don't remind me.
I mean, God, yeah. I mean, I love it. That, who was it? Shanks in an interview is like, yeah, we're not going to lose a map. We're not going to drop a map. It was fucking right. Didn't get to play one, but that fucking doesn't matter. Incredible.
No. Yeah, it was a damn shame, man. But at the end of the day, I want to give a big shout to Luminosity because out of every team that was here in the VCT, Luminosity and Rise are my dark horses in general, right? You take a look at Luminosity and, Uber, we talked about it. They've gone through the most team changes possibly out of any team that's in this tournament. I mean, Thief isn't there anymore. Like, the core's been mixed up forever now. Moose is back. They're doing the damn thing. Dre is on the Jet now. And I just think that at the end of the day, they just needed more time. But this is the fucking pop-off. Like, the map ends, and the whole time, the coach Mac just walks around, dapped up his players like, yo, they can't fucking see you. Starts yelling at them and just singling out the biggest XSet players out there. He was getting in the heads of Aaron. He was getting in the heads of Def and BCJ. He was doing his damn thing, but it just wasn't enough at the end of the day.
That's such a throwback to like Call of Duty and Gears of War coaching styles, right? Where the coach basically, here's how you do it, right? You stand behind your players and you're trying to talk to the other team, but you're actually just talking to your players, right? And you just go, oh, you go up to player one, like, oh, they're shit, they're fucking garbage, you got this, you know what I mean? And try and say it loud enough so the other guys hear it. Go to the other player, yeah, these guys have no fucking idea to play the game, you know what I mean? Not really talking to their players, they're just trying to make sure that they're heard by the opposition coach. I love the trash talk, but it was good to see that, you know, XSet shake off those jitters and turn up and show it. Give us more of a performance that we're expecting. Obviously, Zekin is like a younger guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, and maybe with less LAN experience. So this ended up being really good for them. I also, kudos as well to Riot because I really enjoyed the content piece on Dre. I didn't know anything about him as a player. And they ran like a full content piece sort of talking about, you know, his journey before Valorant and in Valorant. And I thought it was excellent. Like there's like Def sort of talking about him and stuff like that. So that's what I want to see. I wish we could have seen more of it, right? I guess that's being held in reserve until this thing actually resumes. But it was fun. The storylines for a game like this, I didn't expect there to be big storylines, but they kind of wrote themselves.
But that's something that you and I spoke about, right? For those of you out there, before the show started, I was talking to Uber and I said, yo, the worst part about this whole LCQ thing happening is the fact that we didn't get to see the content because personally, I love the first strike content the most, but I love the look. And Uber really loved the look. We love the aesthetic of what happened in Reykjavik, right? We're like, all right, what the fuck is going to happen in this event now? Because everything is a surprise, and surprise, you know, we're going to have to wait even longer. But Dre talking about some real shit and then not being mad, he was like, you know, I was depressed. Like, I didn't want to play, like, you know, especially him getting dropped from 100 Thieves. It's like, what the fuck is there to do? But then Dre wasn't a quitter. He came back as a duelist. He's one of the best duelists that we saw on that stage that day. And he's just there to win at the end of the day. But not just that, but they still dug into what he was doing with PUBG as well and saying, you know what? He was a pro. He was doing his thing, having fun with big smiles and all. But now he's coming to Valorant to re-up that. And this is someone that was dropped. And this is his fucking redemption story. We always love a comeback story, you know?
So here we go, Velly. You said that, you know, following 100 Thieves' first game, the one against GenG, that you were not really convinced that you felt like if they run into someone like XSet, then there could be problems. Well, they do that, right? They do that in the in their next match. 100 Thieves versus XSet ends up being quite the drawn out series here. You know, I think maybe when we start off on split here, and again, the concerns are the same, right? Like we saw, you know, Boy on the Astra maybe not be able to cement himself nearly as effectively on this map in their previous series, and we think, okay, well, split is, you know, and not 100 Thieves pick at this point, yeah, you know, because I think on any other map, you probably see Boy probably play a bit more of the Viper here, but obviously Hiko's not going to play Sova, so this is where we end up on this kind of map. Not a great start for 100 Thieves, but still decent. It just didn't feel very convincing from them though here, especially, you know, from people who expected them to come out strong after these changes.
But this is the biggest question, right? Over the biggest question with 100 Thieves right now is the fact that is a duality of, are you going to have Hiko or Boy on the Viper? And the thing is, they're actually able to switch it up at any given moment, or any given notice. So the biggest question with 100 Thieves is, when is that stability going to step in to really see what they're more comfortable on, really? Because personally, I feel like 100 Thieves are like, hey, you know what? We're just going to throw whatever it is at the fucking wall and see if it sticks. And we really don't know what to expect long term. Whenever we go to the agent comp select, it's like, okay, we know what XS is going to pick. We know what Luminosity is going to pick. But it's always 100 Thieves when we're sitting there at the table, me, Potter, and everybody, and we're like, oh shit. Okay, this is who they're going to pick now. It is not expected. Now, that could hurt them in the long run because, you know, stability and having that type of, you know, experience or whatever from, you know, consistent practice. Or it could also throw off teams that they're going against. Me personally, I like Hiko on Viper. So hopefully they keep that thing running with them. And I want to see Boy on Astra more to continuously stay in the back lines because I don't think he's their strongest gunner and he should be their strongest support player in that sense. That's just my point of view, though.
I feel like in a lot of ways, though, like you have players there that are going to be more comfortable, like in particular looking at Nitro, who obviously played Astra quite a bit in the past. I feel like over time, a decision needs to be made on that. I don't see Astra going anywhere within the meta currently, and Boy just doesn't look comfortable on her. So, do you see like one of these players maybe shifting onto it instead, or do you think this is something that Boy can build through?
He's a fucking pro player. He's gonna have to build through it. There's no training wheels, man. Listen, either you do the fucking job or you can't. You can't throw somebody on the desk, and if they can't do the job, you say, you know, are they gonna have to build through it? No. You come there with your A game. You're on one of the biggest stages that Valorant has, the biggest stage that Valorant has had in North America so far. You just got to compete. At the end of the day, they've been winning. So I mean, it's working. But the further you go on in this bracket, man, he's gonna be tested even more now, especially now that the VOD is out on the new 100 Thieves team.
Yeah.
That is the biggest worry about this squad now, because none of this was expected.
It seems to me, though, that this team doesn't want to play Sentinels. Outside of Sage.
I like it.
Overrated, Sage, Uber. This team is not playing KJ or... So in terms of, you know, when we talk about how Steel is quote-unquote being replaced, he's actually not. He's not being replaced. You know, there's some matches, you know, I think what we saw... You know, if, for example, if Boy is not playing, you know, the Viper, then he's playing the Astra. There isn't a Sentinel player on this team. I don't consider Sage to be one. I think we can all sort of agree. So that is interesting. Obviously, Double Initiator is so fucking good on Breeze. It's just unreal. We've seen a couple teams try and dabble with like the double controller and stuff, or like, even like Brimstone on that particular map with the Viper, which is interesting. But what do you think about this? What do you think about going Sans Sentinel, at least in the maps that we saw? Is it like an in-between decision, or do you think this is like yeah? You
don't need it. Okay, I remember this. What I was talking about in meta a long time ago about utilizing Sky and Sova together to drone in attackers and, you know, have more aggression. And I think it was Vanity and Kaplan that were like, oh, not using a Sentinel is gonna be awkward, especially on defense. And I always said, you don't need traps on site. You don't need it, because especially now that Nitro and these players are way more aggressive, you utilize better utility to help them out, especially more on attack, which is harder to win than on defense in order to get those rounds. At the end of the day, I mean, what's going to help you more, Astra or, you know, turrets from Killjoy or Tripwires? Like, it takes one shot, bam, okay, we rerun in the site. You technically don't need it. Yes, it does work, but it's not the end-all, be-all. We are entering a shift in the meta in Valorant now to where we can look at some of these classes and say, we don't need them at all, and I am perfectly okay with that. Actually, I don't, me personally, before you go, Mitch,
okay,
I don't give a fuck about Sentinels in this game. I'm going to be completely honest. I think that you can go without them.
Okay.
You can bring way better utility.
I don't know, man. I look at 100 Thieves, honestly, on Split. What I was kind of easing into earlier, I was hoping one of y'all would agree, but maybe not. It's like, take Nitro off the Jet, put him on an Astra, put Boy somewhere out. Maybe give Asuna, obviously he's playing a duelist already, but give Boy a little bit more freedom there. I think if he's on something like a Viper, where we've seen in the past he's much more comfortable on, that's just hands down. Then you've got Hiko freed up to play whatever the fuck he wants, you know, lean into a duelist maybe a little bit more, chuck a Reyna in there or something, really let him open up alongside Asuna. I think you've got a pretty good lineup there, but I mean, maybe you can even throw like Hiko onto a little Sentinel. It's possible. People can learn. Yeah, people can learn, man. And I just feel like it brings so much more value when you have something like that than running a Jet Astra. I like, but when your Astra's this uncomfortable, I don't know if I can really make that trade-off, especially because I don't think Nitro's doing anything amazing on Split recently when it comes to a Jet that he couldn't do if he was somewhere else.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the more interesting things to tease out about this team is sort of Nitro's preference to play Jet. Look, I think, and this is covered in one of the interviews with Nitro, there are like a lot of things that Jet offers you on this team. You know, Ethan has played a few different things on his team, right? I think he started playing Omen was like his first. So, you know, he was playing controller initially, and then we sort of, you know, his role has sort of shifted a little bit to sort of, you know, basically just playing Sky. And nothing but right now, and he looks really good in that particular role. Obviously, Sky can flash himself in a bunch of stuff. Like he can be quasi duelist in many ways, and Seekers are just fucked up for information gathering, even though they're more expensive now. I just think that this team is, you know how, okay, you know what? I want to roll the clip and we can talk about it after, because I'm going to quote this clip.
Lay it out, Uber.
Before the clip comes out. So there's an interview with Hiko after this match, obviously conducted by the venerable Wyatt River. regardless of what I think about his fashion decisions. So we'll run this and get some thoughts on how Hiko sees the new team going, what the direction.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely things within the team that just weren't running very optimally. I think that we had a role problem where some people wanted to play one agent, and then some people didn't want to play agents, and it was just like we never really, for pretty much the entirety of the team, we never really like saw eye to eye. So we were just always compromising and always like trying to make it work. You know, anytime you make an in-game an IGL change before a big tournament, it's always, especially a tournament like this, where if we lose, we literally don't go to champions. It's a big move. It's a big decision. And I think that one of the pros is that we're just we're very fresh right now. Everything is very new and very, I'm not going to say it's very clean, but it's definitely, it doesn't feel stale at all. And I don't really attribute that to, it's not necessarily Steel's fault at all that things got stale. It's just, you know, we just didn't really, it took us a little bit to figure out that we need to kind of adapt first. We can't be the last people to adapt, you know, just because, you know, I think one of the VCTs, I think we got slammed for not running Viper Astra when they were both super OP. And we kind of like took a step back after that, and we were like, oh, okay, well, maybe we can't be the last team to change, you know, even though we were like within one round on 4 different maps from winning. It felt like it probably would have been easier making that switch at that point. So things just kind of built up, and, you know, I have to say I like Steel personally. I don't really have any problems with them personally. It just, things don't work out sometimes. It's you know, it's a business, and, you know, just didn't work out.
It's just business, kid, is the a party line there.
I like
that.
that.
Since Dicey left this team, Hunter Thieves didn't really have a Jet player. You know what I mean? Like Arsena's preference always seemed to be to play Reyna when possible. And, you know, I think, and we're hearing a couple things getting teased out here. So I think the whole, if people want to play certain agents thing is interesting. You know, why did this team force KO to such a degree? You know, I think that, you know, Hiko obviously was, for a time, only really playing Sova all the fucking time, with the exception of Split, where he's just completely garbage. This team, when I thought about it, I mean, maybe now not so much because Nitro's picked up the Jet and he's doing the work, but I have to wonder, like, who are the ones that are compromising here, or what compromises are they sort of making? Because it looks like Steel's departure might have been a situation where they couldn't come to one.
If you really think about it, towards Steel's last 2 months on 100 Thieves, I mean, think about Ascent. Whenever he would go to Tiles with an op, and like on some real shit, Steel would take over the map. He would handle mid, and he hits his shots. But the thing is, you have to question, could he have done more if that was consistently done on an agent that is ridiculous with the op such as Jet? Now, opening things up, 100 Thieves, they went first strike. They had Dicey and Asuna. You had the Jet and the Reyna. You don't put Asuna on Jet. You know why? Because Asuna is doing a fucking terrific job on Reyna, so you don't fix what's not broken. But on the flip side is, I mean, they're just way more dynamic, man. And the fact is, Nitro was able to utilize that Jet properly. We saw it on Breeze. We saw him and Hiko dueling up, just like I said before. I like it. It's unfortunate, but there was one thing that I questioned. VCT Challengers playoffs, when everyone thought it was a throw, and everyone memed it when we saw
when Steel was playing
Steel was on Jet. I actually said on broadcast, I legitimately think this is them realistically trying this because they need to. Jet is the meta. The post-plant meta was there, and if you wasn't a part of it, you fell. Now Jet is deep in the meta. You cannot win without a great Jet, in my opinion, especially if you're opping, and opping is the best gun in the game. They needed to make that change. And it was just unfortunate but necessary. I really like it. I feel bad for Steel though, man. I want to see my boy play again. I really do.
Mean, I think like it's fine for Nitro to move off of playing a controller. Like, he doesn't have to play Smoker. If he's mechanically talented, then put him on the Jet. I think that's fine, right? I think
Nitro and Ethan, best ones on the team. You could put either of them on the duel list and just tear it up. I like that change.
Yeah. Again, the only problem I have is that split, man. It really doesn't sit right with me. seeing the fall off of Boy, just watching how he played again. I only saw the first series because LCQ and EMEA, but it just didn't feel right to me. And I think that the value that Nitro was getting didn't strike me as something that was game changing enough that you put someone else on the back foot for. So I'm expecting some changes, honestly, when it comes to their split comp moving into whenever the next games are.
Arsena plays the Rays on that map, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I reckon he had a terrible game against XSet. He got pooed on the Rays. And not everyone has to be double satchelating in a fucking mailroom through mid every round like Bunny, but you know, it was definitely like Arsena was so impactful on the Jet and on the Reyna, but you know, this is a Rays game to forget for sure.
Yeah, I think the thing for me is, though, Asuna has already proved himself when it comes to playing this agent. No one's going to sit back after that and say, hey, yo, this guy probably shouldn't be on the Rays, right? Maybe you can make the argument for him going on Rain or something like that, sure. But for me, like that's sort of a hiccup, and that's something I can allow for, you know, another couple of games, see if it's just a low point. Whereas with Boy, it's like he's actually learning, right? He is literally figuring out one of the most complicated agents, and on a surface level, maybe it doesn't work. Maybe he'll be more comfortable roll around the next time, and it's all going to be fine anyways. But it's a concern for me. It's something to keep an eye on.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I want to see how this team plays out the rest of this bracket. I like that they're picking Breeze. I think that's fucking great. You know, we get to see whether teams have that in their comfort zone or not. Because no one's like, a lot of people are banning Icebox and leaving 100 Thieves open to sort of pick Breeze there. So just keep an eye on that one in the next few series. Let's hear a little bit from Nitro, his thoughts on being IGL and also, you know, playing the Jet now after transitioning from controller.
That's where I want to start, because everybody's asking, you know, we asked Boy earlier, like, oh, the switch, is it something that was planned or whatever? But I want to hear from you specifically, because this seems like something that you guys have been cooking up for a while. But now you do it when you're switching to IGL. Why now?
I think just opping comes naturally to me, and Jet is obviously the best opping agent in the game. And IGLing, I've obviously had past experience on Liquid for probably like 3-4 years. So the IGL part is definitely easier than a new agent as Jet. I mean, opping in this game is very similar to CS. You can like get away out of anything you do, so like that's kind of nice to have, you know, in my back pocket. But it just kind of happened like once we made the replacement, and it was kind of like the best thing we could do in a short period, basically, you know. So we had just had Boy come in, fill in my roles, and then I started opping, and we're like, all right, well. We can run Sentinels on some map, maybe not some maps. So there's still more to see there. And other than that, it was just like kind of like a little short-term plan. And we've just been practicing ever since.
Yeah. All right, let's be clear. This is definitely like a transition period for this team, right? You know, the fact that Nitro admits like, oh, well, it works in some ways, and in some ways it doesn't. You know, if this team ends up winning the LCQ, you've got to hand it to the individuals, because you have to be fucking cracked as just players to get through when you are very much like in the middle of a big upheaval on your team. Not just getting rid of a player, but you're also changing your IGL, you're changing a Jet player, you're changing your controller. That's a lot. What do you think about Jet IGLs, guys? What do you think about it?
I don't like aggressive IGLs in general in any type of game. I think that is very fucking risky at the end of the day, because I mean, sometimes, I mean, even in my experience in the games that I played, and I was in IGL when I did that, I made calls that benefited me mostly. And when that didn't work, it was up to the team to scrap it out and try to win it on their own. And you take a look at even Rainbow Six. I mean, it's going to be the hardcore anchors and support players. They're going to be calling shots from the backlines. You expect that from, you know, the Vanities, which are the Astras of the world. So I don't know if that's going to work long term. I would like to see someone like maybe Hiko IGL, maybe it could be Boy, but still the question still remains. Like, I'm with Little Mitch on this one, man. We don't know about Boy yet, man. We still need to see some more, because shit, it's rough out there.
Yeah, I also quick props to him, the fact that you have a more aggressive IGL, but also just a new IGL. The entire kind of structure of the team is changing up. Now you're learning Astra, and you're trying to play that coming into a completely restructured team. That's really fucking hard. So I got to give him a lot of props for even taking on that role, because you know you're going to get shit on for a while.
Yeah, this is the definition of doing it live. You know,
right? Also, I was thinking about it just now. Even if like Boy did want to step into that role, I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. Okay, he could have been nervous playing on that stage with 100 Thieves. It's such a big fucking tournament. It's your last chance, man. But yeah. So I'm gonna say it was the nerves. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. But I would like to see him start calling shots big time. because you saw from players like Aaron, of course, and we know what agents Aaron uses, and it works to perfection, man. That backline call definitely makes a difference.
I mean, Dark Azazel game in chat kind of mentions that maybe there's a world where Boy is actually not the long-term solution, that Seven gets subbed in and Nitro moves back to controller and IGLs. That almost seems look, a pro of absolutely nothing and knowing nothing about Seven as a player, it seems to fit a bit better into how this team is intrinsically composed. But you never know. Like, got Nitro out there being like, it just feels natural for me to do this. I'm like, yeah, if someone told you to jump off a bridge. If Eco told you to jump off the bridge, you'd be like, yeah, I was born to fly. It's fine. All right, well, we'll see. Day 2 was an incredible showing of lack of gameplay. As when the show began, I think, oh god, okay. So we were sat on like a 40-minute countdown slate.
Velly looks like he's having flashbacks.
As it got, I was sat
there. That was just
there.
a terrible day for me in general, man.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly I've been a part of an event that doesn't get off the ground, so to speak, and it's pretty frustrating, especially if the travel for it. I also, by the way, I love that Gus ties his hair back normally, but when he's on show, the hair tie comes off. You know what I mean? It's like the opposite to how a lot of people do their hair. It's like normally like you maybe tie your hair up if you're going to be on stage or professional, but no, he's the other way around. Love it. Yeah, so I watched the timer just get increase, and I realized that something was going wrong. We start with this one though. This was something that we sort of occurred on day 1. There were some issues on day 1 before any of this went down. Hiko tweets, we're playing this LAN on online servers, and it feels weird being on LAN servers with 0 ping. So they're not on LAN servers, sorry. So, right. I have witnessed this before, that LAN events are played online, but it is rare, and it does, well, you are selling a LAN event. When you sell a LAN event to fans, you're selling like the experience and the show. When you're selling a LAN event to players, you are selling the 0 ping environment. That is supposed to be part of the reason that you fucking go to these things. Now, conveniently, of course, it was never mentioned publicly by Riot that this would be on LAN. So that this would be online. So it's pretty obvious that this is not a detail that they wanted to become public. And so it did. So since we started planning NALCQ earlier this year, our goal was to have a LAN event. Given strict COVID protocols for in-person events, we felt it was in the best interest of all to shift to a remote server if anyone needed to be quarantined, to allow for teams to continue to compete and not bring a sub, if they couldn't have anyone. So I think this is fair. But why does this only comes out after it becomes public, right?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I think in Rainbow Six we do online play as well. Now I'm gonna be completely honest. Like, all disclaimer, this isn't me being a simp for anybody, me trying to shill. It's me just being completely real. Like, so when it came to the issues, I'm gonna be honest. This was when Michael's death, the news came out to me. So I really didn't look at my phone a lot. So I really didn't know the ins and outs. I remember reading that at the end, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna look more into it. Now this makes sense. I mean, let's be completely honest. When what you said at the beginning, fair, right? Selling the LAN environment, but just make it clear to the players so it's not just a shock. But at the end of the day, COVID is a thing, so they wanted to have a seamless environment to where if a player did catch COVID, they would play in a room, and the team would play on the stage and whatnot, and things would resume without a big switch up. Unfortunately, it just didn't happen. Now, to be completely honest, I am. All right. Looking forward. Looking forward in all reality, I'm kind of happy that things were kind of shut down, because at the end of the day, I'd rather Riot say, you know what, we messed up. They owned it. I said it on air. I'm the one that had to read it. At the end of the day, they owned it. They messed up. Well, they didn't mess up. Things just didn't work out the way they wanted it to work out. I would rather them recoup, get everything together, and just run it right, the next time around. Whether the talent are going to be there in person or not, I don't know. I don't know what the inner workings or the conversations are about for the next LCQ date, but I really hope that they look at the big picture was there. The big picture was there, but it was the minute things that just happen to run into smaller issues. I hope that they knock that shit out the park, to be completely honest, man. Like, it sucked though. It sucked, and it caught everybody off guard. the issues with the lagging or whatnot, because we know that clip went viral. You can't hide from it, right? You can't not talk about it. I don't know what the cause of that was. I don't know if it was building. I don't know if it was what a router, a build, whatever it might be. I just hope that the next time around that's gone and they really kill this shit, man. Because it was unfortunate. For some people, like it's fun to shit on companies when things don't go well. But in reality, at the end of the day, we all really fucking love Valorant and we want the shit to succeed, right? So it fucking sucked. I'm gonna be honest. Just so you guys know from a talent perspective, like, yo, talking to the producers and the staff that was there, it wasn't like, let's brush it under a rug. There was like legitimate like concern, like fires were being put out. Like I was looking at the chat and people they were working on the statements. They're like, yo, we need to get this out. This is the fix we need to do. They I don't know how true it is, but I heard that FaZe were gonna play at like a team house or something like that. I
Oh
I,
yeah.
I didn't
Yep.
like I said, I was away from my phone, so I'm like I know as much as the
Well,
common person when it comes to that.
here you go.
I'm glad that didn't happen, because now imagine if this happened in phase one and a team just turned around and said their computers are better than ours. That would have destroyed this entire event on way worse than what's happening now. So I am happy that this is happening and that everyone plays on a more fair environment. Also, Uber, let's be fucking real, dude. I looking at events now in esports, I'm gonna be real. I'm in LA. I live in Vegas. I go out every single fucking day in rooms full of people now. And you know what? Some places and events, if you're vaccinated, you come in. If you're not vaccinated, whatever. Sign a waiver, do whatever you might be. My question is at the end of the day, um, how long is something like this gonna happen, especially with CDL having their event with the live audience? How long are we going to really keep the crowd away and have like super tight restrictions on COVID? Because if someone that's vaccinated, and I'm saying this outright, people could blast me. I don't care about
Mhm.
political stances or whatever
Mhm.
the fuck it is. I mean, I'm vaccinated. If I catch COVID, I'm most likely, knock on wood, not gonna die. I might just catch a cold and lose my taste. I might miss Chipotle for a week, but it's not something that me personally I feel like is gonna super affect me. It's a really interesting conversation if you look at it from that lens. Monty also says something on his podcast like, "Yo, the Raiders Stadium and these football stadiums are sold out as well." So looking at the broader conversation of that, I think that that's something that esports should kind of stop being scared of at this point in time.
I wonder
Yeah.
how much of that depends on though, like things like athlete visas and all that sort of crack. Like I know that you can have an event for a football game, but here, for example, if I want to have a birthday party with 200 people, I can't do that. So if esports in the specific countries aren't flagged under whatever sort of legislation the football games and stuff like that are, it might not actually be possible to get the staff to get the audiences in, and the headache that goes with that.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, listen, we as
Sounds an
esports aren't coming up with these guidelines. Like, we're just not.
Yeah.
These guidelines are mandated by the locales in which we hold these events. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
okay.
So,
Like I said, I'm clueless, so
yeah. So these restrictions that you're seeing applied are actually LA County restrictions. Basically, if you want to run an event, you have to declare you have to
Oh.
declare to the county that you're running an event. You have to declare how many people are going to be there, and they will have a quote unquote COVID marshal present at the event to ensure that compliance has been carried out. And I work a fair bit with Esports Engine here in Los Angeles with the old NGE guys who now Esports Engine, at the Twitch Rival Studio down in Burbank. And there's a COVID marshal there at all times. And like if you have your mask off, or if you have your mask off in the wrong context, wrong situation, you'll be told to put it back on pretty much straight away. So here's the issue. If you test positive for COVID-19, Los Angeles County rules require you to have 2 consecutive negative test results within a certain period of time. You can't just go get one.
Oh.
You have to have 2 consecutive negative results. Now, frankly, if Riot didn't want to deal with this particular issue, they should have just held it in fucking Texas, where those cunts don't give a shit.
True.
What tilts me a little bit is that you guys, we talked about on this show. Remember when they canceled the LCS in New Jersey? Right, it was going to be at the Prudential Center. They canceled it, and there was a fucking quote in the paragraph that read something like, "We know that other esports events are going to push through these regulations and try and hold their events, but and this is from the LCS, so it's not from Valorant. They are different entities, but it's the same fucking company. But they're like, we don't feel like we need to put people in danger in order to have a competitive product or something like that. A bit of a jab being like, yeah, other people will just try and skirt around COVID regulations, but we won't. We're moving LCS back to the LA studios, whatever. You know, like, very ambitious project to have the LCQ at LAN. A lot of places didn't bother to try and do this, right? For reasons. Hey, I cast my second grand final. These are supposed to be the years of my career where I'm at the top of my game. And I should be casting in fucking stadiums. But no, I'm casting in my fucking garage. 2 consecutive Overwatch League grand finals. Well, it is what it is, right? Here we go. So this is, look, again, it's the LCS, but like, this pissed me off because first it's just mad virtue singling. And now they're trying to run an event. And by the way, they're running an event not at the LCS arena. And the players are flying in from different states as opposed to LCS, them residing in Los Angeles, right? So it's a little bit easier because they don't have to fucking do domestic travel between their house and the studio, right? But this is a situation where you're trying to fly people in from across the country. Sorry, like it is pretty ambitious, and you probably should be well versed with the LA County restrictions. And if you are, then great. If you don't want to deal with this shit, hold it in Texas. Hold it in Boca Raton, motherfucker. I don't care. You have to know what you're getting yourself into. Now, mate, here's also the problem is that some kinds of tests are more likely to return false positives than others. And it was said that the test that they were using was known to return false positives sometimes. Now, that might be the case with all these COVID tests. I've taken 3 or 4. I haven't taken a whole bunch of them. But I knew as someone who's been contracted for this event that I'd have to take a COVID test on site like an hour or so before I sort of went in, right? So I knew restrictions would be in place. I saw the photos from the players getting out and about, hanging out on the night before. You know what I mean? They were doing their thing. That's fucking fine. But again, you need 2 negative results back to back. Now, should we as esports maybe stop being scared of this? Maybe, right? But like, the problem is the transmission of the fucking virus. It's not about whether we're going to die or not, right?
You're right.
I thought the CDL event was really interesting because it taught me 2 things. First of all, it taught me about the virulence of the virus. It also taught me that people are dumb. You know what's so crazy to me is that people went to a fucking COD event in a venue where masks were not mandated, and then they posted on Reddit, oh man, it's super fucking weird. You know, I went to the CDL event and I know I've got COVID. Like, kind of disappointed that this happened. You know, like kind of like, excuse me, you went to a fucking event without a mask, and now you're pissed off because you caught COVID from the event. Like, what? You didn't think this shit was real in the first place? You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's kind of fucking. Well, the players were in the crowd interacting with us because here's what the players were subject to mandates about wearing masks, but after they got eliminated from the tournament, they just fucking ignored them. They just fucked around because those COD players, the vast majority of them are little shits. So they're in the crowd, fucking getting happy, you know, and a bunch of the players get COVID, a bunch of the fans get COVID. No, man, it's just fucking weird, man. What? I can't believe I don't get COVID. That's so fucking weird. This is what happens, right? So yeah, I agree. If you're going to go to an event, you should probably know what you're getting yourself into. But if you're not in Texas, which by the way, I think is a state that prevents the setting of vaccine and mask mandates, then
yeah,
it's probably easy to run this kind of event. We were going to run our playoffs in Texas, Overwatch League. But we were like, oh, they're not going to let us mandate masks. Oh, we're not doing this at all. We're not doing this fucking event. No way. We fucking canned it because Ted Cruz is a shitlord. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way we're going to take the risk here. So eventually we canned it all. All I'm saying is that, like, you have to understand what the regulations are in the state that you're trying to run the event in. There's a reason why they want to do it in LA, right? It has to be.
Yeah.
With one of the strictest states when it comes to COVID stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Y'all, yeah. I would love COVID to go away as well, but like the reason why it's still fucking here is because there's people that just don't believe it exists. So Raucus wants to make it clear here that, you know, Riot have done a great job of trying to make this happen, right? And I think at this point, like, outside of me being salty about the way they talked about the LCS cancellation and how they holier than thou'd it, you know, it's pretty clear that these guys, you know, doing absolutely everything they can to try and put on a great event. It is really a shame that it wasn't able to happen. I think that, you know, the back and forth we saw between players and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, Mike's makes a point, like, yeah, maybe just send everyone home and get them just to play it online. EMEA does it. You know, they understood that they were probably asking for way too much to fly people in from different countries, let alone different states.
Yeah.
You know, Mike's is less charitable. He's saying that like this is not an excuse, and it isn't, because you should know what the risks are, and you should know what the sort of what the county mandates are, and have a way to work around that, if not at all. So it makes sense why they went online, right?
Announcement. My Twitter just popped up. They just announced the LCQ NA dates for when it comes back.
Oh, when is it then? Oh, we'll bring it up. We'll bring it up while we talk about this.
Okay, but I will say this as well. Yeah, if it fucking sucks, I'm not gonna lie, Uber. After the first day, I felt good. Everyone felt great. You know, the bullshit happened, and it fucking sucks. Yeah. Possibly the tests fucking sucked. Possibly, you know, whatever. Things went wrong. But I will say this though, like Riot, they came up to the talent and they said, you know what, at the end of the day, shout out to that. Let me make it quick. They said at the end of the day, you know, we're gonna pay you guys what was expected. We're gonna take care of you. If you need anything from us, any flights, whatever, we'll take care of you. So I will say that on their end. I mean, that was actually nice.
They're doing good, man. Yep.
Yes.
Sure. I mean, and look, this comes at a significant cost to them. This shit's fucking expensive. So
a lot of money.
Some difficult lessons to learn during this time. I mean, trying to put on a studio event, even without an audience, right? It's fucking complicated. So good on them. And yeah, looking forward to that. October the 27th. We're gonna be what? Fuck me, that's 8 days from now, right?
Let's go.
Excellent.
I hope I work it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Velly. All right. Yeah. Oh my God. Is Velly going to get the event or not? Who fucking knows?
Shut up.
Oh shit. All right. So anyway, so that's what this is the announcement. Obviously, much more to come from that bracket. I assume they're not going to replay any games. They're going to continue, which is great because we get to see FaZe Clan and Rise Nation and Cloud9 Blue in version 1, that lower part of the bracket, which I'm very much looking forward to. Look, they made the right decision. Yeah. I think it sucked.
The event had to get canceled.
No, Mitch. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here, mate. No. There's like 100
it's online. Fly them somewhere like north of South America. You know? Fly them to Texas. Fuck it. They'll let them in. They don't give a shit.
Well, actually, Australians aren't able to leave the country until November. Yeah. So
get Ted Cruz to write a letter. Get him fucking in. It'll be
fucking
great.
Ted.
Fucking hell. The only letter I want Ted Cruz to get is a fucking howler, mate. I think yeah. So Aussies can't leave the country. I mean, until November. That's really unique. Not many countries are actually keeping their people inside, but Australia is sort of doing that. But yeah, Lauren pointed out, like, obviously on the day it was a bit tough because, you know, first of all, it sucks having to be the bearer of bad news on a broadcast. I've had to do it at IEM Katowice once, and it was just there were like super long delays, and Carmack would pull me out the crowd and be like, okay, we need to go on camera and just explain why we're going to be half an hour late. And I'm like, why me? I'm the new guy. Why am I going on stream to tell them the fucking games are going to be more? I was so mad. So yeah, obviously that sucks. But it's coming back soon. So whatever. There was also like a partnership with cinemas. I think they were going to have the LCQ finals in cinemas.
Yeah.
Well, they had to fucking refund all those tickets, didn't they? So that's now a corporate partner that's affected by this. So it's not just the players and the fans. It's Cinemark group that have had to, you know, take a hit here as well, which is regrettable.
Answer back. How's you know, the Valorant staff gonna answer back? That's gonna be the question now. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see how the LCQ turns out now, because hey, you know, shit happened, but the show goes on. At the end of the day, you got to put out a fucking A++ product, especially for one of the newer biggest FPSs in the fucking road, right? So I'm expecting them to really like ace this shit. This is a true test, man. And I expect them to really fucking like knock it out the park. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it fucking sucks for all the players that have to travel there. And it sucks for you guys, like the talent that have to travel there, and for the viewers and so on.
No, Mitch, don't give me that shit.
On Twitter all week. These motherfuckers having a paid holiday, so let's not be too sorry for them.
I'm in LA having fun. I'm at the beach, motherfucker.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, from a broadcast and comp and Valorant perspective, it sucks. On the upside, they're looking after you guys from what we're hearing. Like, I hear they're looking after the players. They're doing everything they possibly can, and I think the majority of the narrative, especially here in EU, is a little bit like, fuck you, NA. And I mean, you know, fair enough.
Really?
But at the same time, it's like, you got to respect the fact that they try to do something here, right? They tried to put it on. I would much rather them try like this and fail, especially because they're looking after everyone. So it's not like anyone really got hurt. And we end up in a position where, like, maybe you end up at that LAN event, and sure, we didn't now, but it'll still go ahead online. And, you know, it's just right back to square one, really. It's nothing lost, nothing gained.
how lucky are they, to be completely honest? Like I said, half glass full, cup full, whatever mentality you have, they're really fucking lucky that they're getting a second chance at this, because now they can really go all out. Like what they did to us, what they did for the players, they treated us like fucking royalty, man. Like, god damn. Like, I literally have zero
I
complaints.
saw it like Sunday
And
night. Everyone was like, "Yo, right, if I could
dude,
treat us like kings." I was like, "Okay, all right, let's go. Let's go."
they treat us extremely well. And I was talking to the staff and all, and like everyone was just like, you know what? Hey, we're sorry. You doing all right? Is there anything we could do for you? And I'm like,
That's great because
well,
after
shit.
after Berlin, I'm sure there were concerns. So I'm great to see that's been rectified to some degree. Kudos, right? Oh, fucking
Yeah.
Christ. At least you get it right eventually. Let's talk about
Uber. Wait. First off, Uber. Yo, all of us, all the talk, and I really didn't get to talk to you about this. All the talk at the event was how much you would have fucking tore up if you were there. I know it sucks. I know it fucking burns. But hey, at the end of the day, you and I know that if you were here, you would have tore that fucking mic up, yo. And I can't wait until you get your shot again, because your play-by-play on that stage would have fucking destroyed it, yo. It's my nipples would have been hard for a fucking month after that.
I mean, I was prepping my dick off for that because honestly, like there was. I'll talk about this really quickly. So I would have been desk hosting 2 days, and I would have been casting with Sean, and I would have been casting with DDK. So they were mixing me up with DDK and Sean, and I was like, "Why the fuck are you doing this? Like, this is like the crowd favorite pair." So I was a little nervous about that. That's why I tweeted like things are gonna be a little bit different, and they were gonna have me on the desk as well. I was really looking forward to a chance to to sort of doing that. Obviously, I'm trained as a desk and stage host, so that would have been fine to do. But I didn't really go into too much detail on my tweet longer about it. Basically, Blizzard were willing to sort of kind of make an allowance, but the conditions that they were asking me for were to allow me to do the event were actually fucking insane. They basically said no by saying they said yes, but, and the but was like basically you're a fucking idiot if you try and make this happen. It would have, to satisfy the conditions that were expected of me by Blizzard, it would have basically made it pointless to do the event. That's all I'll say. So
Yeah.
still not Blizzard's fault because they fucking negotiated with us, and my agent just fucking forgot what was in the contract. Straight up, he just forgot. Because I tweeted like a few weeks ago, like, yeah, I'm a freelancer, by the way. And apparently Blizzard were like, does he know he's not a freelancer? Does he know, But my agent's like, yeah, you can fucking do this event. I'm like, let's go, baby. I'm doing this. And then, we get an email like, excuse me, are you aware that Mitch is, contracted in his contract very clearly states that, there's some, like, there weren't specific games that I can't cast. I don't mind talking about this. There were just, it was genres that were kind of blocked out, which is really normal in contracts, especially these kinds of contracts. We're talking, this contract is the higher level of, of esports in terms of what's expected, in terms of what's being offered to me. So, I am not allowed to cast other FPS or MOBA games. So Valorant falls into that category. Also League of Legends. Funny, a lot of Riot games fall into that. Anyway, so that is what I signed that. I didn't know that was in there. I think if bluntly, if I'd realized that, I would have asked for a lot more money. But that's the way it goes, and we fucking move on. So I can cast Brawl Stars and I can do a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, Valorant is a no go until my contract's done, which sucks. But I'll still be involved and I'll be here. And yeah, when that contract's done, well, oh my god, I'm turning them into a fucking windsock if they try and sign me again. So, enough about me though. Let's talk about another really, really popular and good faith actor in the esports scene. Let's talk about our good friend Artur Minikov, who has just been he's been through so much lately, guys, and he's on the path to recovery, and it's gone really well, and we're all gonna make it, and he's now the grandfather of NFTs. So that's congratulations, Artur. Let's talk about the Spike.gg, the more important and interesting part of this story, because the sale of the Spike from Artur to whoever the fuck else has been completed. So they've finally closed the transfer of ownership, so which includes payment to all the writers, and Artur now is not involved in it. So this is Hex that sort of posts this. So this, as far as we know, gentlemen, is the end of this saga that should never have been.
Poor guy. I saw him. I heard rumors that he was, crying in that BMW that he purchased with the staff's money, as he was still sending fucking hateful tweets to Yinsu and just being a dickhead in general. Thank fucking God. I hope that everybody got the
fuck
fucking
off.
money that they deserve. And this guy, I never want to see him a fucking again. Yo, it's a fucking shame, man.
What the
What a
fuck is
fucking
the
loser.
difference between this guy's dark moment in my life and mine? Holy shit.
Like,
How
what
much
the
fucking
fuck?
money did he steal? Oh, sorry, I was in a bad moment. Just needed a couple $100K. Just, was feeling down. Thought, hey, I could pay my staff or get a BMW. Yeah,
Why?
I need the
Okay,
BMW because I'm a bit sad these days. Fuck off, dude. What?
Yeah, so you can tell that like so Artur's personality is very unique, right? I think that like it's not that common to sort of encounter people like this, thankfully. You notice that he's extremely good at projecting onto other people. So obviously this is a situation entirely of his own design, as far as we understand. This not paying his staff, this dark time. This dark time is literally code for people call me a fucking asshole for not paying my staff. That's the dark time. So he's like, oh, this is really tough. I'm glad to put it behind me. Look, he does mention it. Look, credit is due. He does mention that he's sorry for the people that he's fucking dragged through this. But the guy is an eternal entrepreneur because he's already flipping his failed battle royale game, the Forge Arena, into like some sort of nonsense NFT game. So he's on to the next thing already.
Is that what he's doing? Are you serious?
Yeah. So basically, the Forge Arena was a game that he developed. That he obviously paid to have developed, and it was supposed to be like a arena shooter or whatever, and it flopped. Like it was not successful. It was like many of Artur's exploits, it didn't really succeed. So the next move in his illustrious climb to being the overlord of everything in the world is turning this game into an NFT game, which is becoming very common in the NFT spaces. That this genesis of the play to earn model, where basically let's just say like your guns can be transferred in Valorant, right? Like you own them, but you can also sell them on the secondary market. It's like CS:GO skins are basically the first NFTs. Anyway, so that's what he's doing now. So okay, fair enough. He's basically reviving this corpse of a failed game, and look, we don't really care. I don't really want to give it any promo. So but I just don't understand why he sort of felt the need to sort of respond there, but it's over. It really is. Germanic is obviously one of the writers that was not paid, and he says it's been 5 months, and I've now received payment owed to me. We've spoken to many people from the SpikeGG. I want to thank them for their cooperation because it's not always easy to talk about this stuff. We've reached out. We harassed them on Twitter a lot to sort of get updates, and we brought Mustafa onto the show, who was fantastic. Thank you again for coming on. So we recognize that this is a little bit of a tough situation for you if you're not being paid, especially if you're dealing with an entity that is ostensibly more powerful than you. We have really tried to cover this topic in a way that would help raise awareness, and we just never wanted to really give the impression that we were just milking it for content, because there's plenty to talk about, right? But we all felt strongly about this as a collective, and that's why we wanted to speak to the people that were affected by it. So congrats to those guys that got paid. Sorry it took so long, and good luck, I guess, to them in the future, and also to Hex, who's
I don't want to talk about him again, dude.
You don't want to talk about him? Yeah, no. I don't think we have
let's
to.
forget that guy's
Fucking-
name.
Yeah.
He's gonna change it in a month anyway, so let's move on.
Yeah, it'll be a new project. So just yeah. I mean, you'll know. Like we know better now that we've been burned by Artur Minikov, and we know whether or not to sort of deal with him.
Bye.
Yeah. See you later. All right. We are going to be back after a brief break. When we do that, we're going to talk a bit more about EU LCQ, because that was an event that actually happened. Also, some roster changes to discuss. So that's what's happening on the other side of the break. Don't go too far, everybody. This has been Valoranting, and there's much more to come. Welcome back, everybody, to Valoranting. In a moment, we'll be talking about the EMEA LCQ, but we're going to give you a bit of time to get ready, because obviously any exchange with Mitch requires some preparation and mental focus. We'll carry on, though, and talk about some of the roster moves going on around the world here, because obviously with LCQ concluded, a lot of teams are going to be looking to be making their changes. This first one, it comes from a team that's not participating in the LCQ, and I wanted to discuss it because I thought it was interesting. Last week, we found that Chet Singh, of course, previous coach of TSM, previous coach of NRG, is now the coach. I mean, my guy, well connected, so well connected, in fact, that motherfucker might be wearing Cerebro. He now is on his third Valorant team here, and he knows a lot of the players really well. So he has been brought on as the coach of this team. Now, I guess the color to add to this is that obviously recently we saw that Mike's departed this team after failing to receive anything that fucking remotely approximated a substantial offer or a contract or anything really. So why the fuck do they take so long to move on Mike's and then bam, they snap up a coach fucking instantly? It's clear this team can be agile when they want to. Might be uncharitable. Is this just an uncharitable way of looking at this situation?
It just sounds really weird. If the drama came out with Mike and the whole contract situation being dragged out and whatnot, especially after they went to Berlin, you know what I'm saying, man? And then they move on that fast. What's the juice behind the scenes? I know that we'll never fully know, but it's like, goddamn. And then that quickly you make a big announcement and you sign Chet. It's like, what am I missing here?
First of all, Chet was on TSM for how long? Like a couple months, yeah?
Something like that, yeah. Chet be moving, man. Chet be collecting the bag.
I'm just saying, my guy's getting it done. So I know that he goes.
TSM didn't get it done, but yeah.
Yeah, like what? Okay, what happened with TSM? Why the fuck are they dropping Chet? Oh, because of what they
but
didn't
that's the shit that blows my mind, right? Because when you look at the recent success of Envy as well, I mean, Envy's on the up and up. TSM, they're not even in LCQ. So that's still a really weird move to me. I don't get that. You know what I'm saying?
I guess. Well, I suppose maybe this whole. I mean, Envy still wanted a coach, right? And so I guess they.
But they had a good one. They were winning.
They were
winning. Envy was turning into the team that everyone in
did they even
was
think
looking
that
at.
Mike's was their coach? Who fucking knows? Now we're hearing that like they weren't sure where he would fit. Was he an analyst? Was he a coach? They didn't fucking know what his.
And put a title on his ass.
Yeah, I know, but that's what they didn't do. They fucking you better believe they fucking slapped one on Chet's ass the second he bobbed up, two cheeks just fucking buoyant as fuck in the ocean. Oh, bam! That's a fucking coach right there. Schmack! Hit that fucking cake. So now they have a coach. Good on him. Obviously the TSM don't have one now. Do they have the TSM have a replacement coach? I don't think so, right? I mean, I don't think so. Obviously, they're going to take some time to rebuild because they're not really. There's nothing really relevant for them to compete in here. I guess for Chet, it's like, well, I mean, what the fuck am I going to do for the rest of the year? And Envy. I bet you they offered him a fucking contract though. 27K. Relax, yeah. Yinsu's going to be on her way, mate. We got some stuff to talk about first. All good. All right. Don't worry. I'll keep you updated.
The public perception of Envy since what was it, right before the finals, have kind of been bad too, man. Like I don't hate the org, I don't hate Hastro or any of them, but it's Hastro popping off again, and then the team loses and it just looks bad.
I mean,
then the Mike's thing, it's
think every time I think Hastro has regretted it every time he's popped off on Twitter like that. I think he's like me though. He's literally just like me. You see, people talking shit on him, and he'll bite back. You know what I mean? Because there's a bit of pride there. So I kind of get it. It's just not helpful. I don't know, man. All right. Well, I mean, listen. I mean, we don't know any more about that because we're not going to see Envy for a little bit. So Chet's now the coach. It is what it is. What do you? Okay, Velly. This one's for you specifically. What do you think? Is this interesting? Oderus getting picked up by version 1.
Oderus getting picked up by version 1.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I really fucking wish we got to see them play, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Oderus. I think he's gonna be fine. I'm gonna be completely honest, man. All the talk about version 1, mostly is negative, right? And rightfully so, because Vanity was a fan favorite. He was a crowd pleaser. We love his cat pictures on Twitter. It's very big. So anybody that was gonna replace him, everyone's gonna especially with how good Vanity was. I'm gonna be honest. I like Oderus, man. I like this move.
He was on Kansas City Pioneers, right? And they
lost
a
good team, man.
Yeah, but they lost to EG, so can't be that fucking good. they are better than a team that loses to EG. I'm sorry, I fucking hate that, watching the team that has like JMO and Oderus on their lose. Yeah, I mean that's not good. So fair enough that he sort of takes his offer, but yeah, I think that like Vanity had the combo of being like really sick IGL, but also like just a very talented individual. Like when me and Vans are going through a lot of the footage and seeing C9 Blues debut games in nursery games, we were like, fuck, this guy's insanely gifted as just a player. So I don't know how you're going to replace him, really. I don't know if anyone can, really.
I'm a really big fan of Oderus though. From back in the CS days, like he was grinding out a lot in like pretty shit tier NA teams, but it always felt like he was one of those really solid players from what you heard from all the interviews that go around from all the talk in North America. And then, dude, you don't hear, you hear so much about this guy from Fraud. He doesn't shut up about Oderus being a solid player. So I think he's got a good chance of slotting in really. But one of the better things for him is this a team finding their identity again, and he's someone that can use a little bit of shaping. So I don't think it's that. I would much rather him be put into a team that already had like a lot figured out. Grinding up is always like the way that he's been, but they've never quite broken through the barrier into like, you know, top 10 teams within the region when it came to CS back in the day. So I don't know, maybe that experience is going to help him out here.
The biggest question is, I mean, take a look at who Vanity uses, take a look at who Oderus uses, right? Like we're talking about like a hardcore Sentinel player. How is that going to work out? And then that's going to be the same question that we have for Boy, who's on 100 Thieves now. You know, going to Astra on a brand new team. Is he going to be able to really fill those shoes? Answer is most likely fucking not, because Vanity is fucking Vanity, right? But at the end of the day, I mean, version 1 is still a very underrated team, and I feel like they really did get the short end of the stick when it came to the discussion around them about these changes and losing Vanity. I think version 1's going to be fine, to be completely honest. Like Penny, like, oh, and speaking of Penny, like Penny's Zelsis, Penny's Jet, people seem to fucking forget how fucking great Penny was even in Reykjavik, man. So it's like, they're going to be fine. Oderus is a fucking dog. I wonder if he's going to use Astra, though. That'd be interesting.
As a Sentinel,
they're
swapping
still
it
gonna
up.
get trounced by Cloud9 Blue, personally.
That'd be an interesting fight, yeah. There will be.
I think they're going to get trounced by Cloud9 Blue still.
I don't know, man. I think that's a trap game.
Okay.
I think that's a trap game, because this is the thing. Like we always rate teams from what 2 months ago, 3 months ago about their success. But recently, what did we see with Cloud9 Blue? But I mean, outside of those NSG tournaments, do you really think that competition is on the level of Masters and playoffs?
I mean, it's not. I think being NRG is a pretty good start at least. But I agree. I don't think Cloud9 has beaten anyone notable yet. No one.
NRG ain't winning events anytime soon.
I mean, that team is dog. It's so strange because it's like it's the perfect scenario of a team that's like way less than the sum of its parts. It has like a fucking cracked, insane players on that team, and they just you saw them. We did Android. Like, what the fuck is going on with that team, mate? Like, unreal. Talk about like sick players not being able to get results. It's just painful. Anyway, talking about that. Another disbanding that I thought was quite fascinating, but makes sense really in the context of how they went at the LCQ is F4Q. Mm-hmm. They have exploded. They are no more after losing in that lower bracket to New Turn in a best of 3. They're donezo. They're piecing the fuck out.
Yeah.
They're a stream team. What else are they going to play for, Mitch? Like,
exactly.
Go back to streaming and memeing.
Streaming, memeing, and maybe jumping in a $200 tournament here or there. That's exactly what we said would happen when teams start getting eliminated from VCT permanently. Yeah. Why would you keep paying the players when you can just turn around in, I don't know, 3 months right before the leagues start back up again, whenever it will be, and pick up maybe a better roster, and you won't have had to salary 5 dudes for 3 months or 4 months or whatever it is. So yeah, there's absolutely no reason to stick together for some of the bigger organizations like that who, you know, have a roster that didn't perform up to their standards. Just scrap it and start again later.
There's more to come. There's more to come. This is going to be a brutal off season, because I'm really hoping we get some more announcements of something more worthwhile that keeps players and people busy, you know, because this kind of it. This kind of is how they pay the bills. This is their livelihood in a way. And orgs aren't going to throw money at them to do nothing for months.
You have to realize as well, like
there's a circuit in Korea, right? I think there's like one that's going to run through the winter.
Really? Oh shit, that'd be cool.
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure how big it is, but I know certainly looking at there are technically events going on in Europe over this downtime. There are a bunch of events that are like the Open Tour, for example, but they're not really enough to commit to sticking with a team that, as I said, maybe doesn't have the results that you want. Dropping them, missing out on 1 or 2 events here or there, and then coming in and actually winning something at a much lower cost. You have to think as well, like a lot of teams will have signed players on 1-year contracts that aren't really taking into consideration how the actual format of the year works, how the format of the tournaments work. So coming out of that offseason, you might actually have players on tier 1 teams that maybe you don't want to get because of buyouts, and all of a sudden, actually, they've got a month left in their contract, and you might be able to pick them up. And if there's some hype around, F4Q completely rebuilding the roster, they can maybe tempt over some of those players who are coming towards the end of their contract and looking for a new challenge or a new salary or something like that. So, like, business-wise, at the end of the day, it's the right decision for the vast majority of organizations, unless they have a lot of faith in the lineup they've got.
This one's for you, Mitch. What do you think about this big supermassive Blaze fucking explosion?
Yeah.
So they've benched Russ, Pura, and Turco, and Tanzik has also left this team. Who I know he made it very clear he wasn't a head coach, but more of like a coaching staff member. But
yeah,
this is a huge upheaval for this team that frankly was pretty fucking disappointing at LCQ. Really disappointing.
Yeah, I heard a lot of rumors coming into this event that SMB weren't in a great place. That they had been considering disbanding anyways. So from what I had heard, as soon as they were out of this tournament, that was when they disbanded. Like the second that game was over, I think all the players knew it was happening. The staff knew, like, that's not a good environment to play a tournament in, and I wouldn't judge any of them based on that. But it makes a lot of sense if there's something going on behind the scenes, if there's some sort of a personality clash. I don't know. Maybe the organization's in the same perspective of, hey, look, if you're not going to be in the main circuit, then, we're going to let go of you, and maybe we'll, meet again later on further down the line. But for now, it's GG. It wasn't really a surprise to people who kind of tuned in behind the scenes that heard those rumors were coming. But obviously, it's a disappointment because this is a team that showed a lot of promise that definitely could have been at Champions representing the region. We saw what they were able to do in Berlin, and I think that coming into this tournament, they were just in a really shit mentality, so there was no way they were going to be a team that made it through the challenges that awaited them.
I still had faith for whatever reason, I think because they would look so good in the EMEA playoffs, in challenges playoffs. But I mean they really went downhill pretty quick. Let's talk a little bit more about EMEA. And to help us do that, we're bringing in out from waiting in the wings, of course, the one and only Yinsu Collins to join us once more on the show. Yinsu, great to have you here again. How goes?
EU.
We had an event. They didn't.
Oh my God, Velly's also here.
Yinsu, I love you. How you been, girl? Listen, Yinsu, I know I didn't make it to Berlin, but one day I'm going to get my black ass over the sea, and we're going to work together one day, okay?
It's going to happen.
To.
We're going to
the jersey.
We're going to work together and watch Fnatic lift the trophy at Champions. It's going to be beautiful.
Okay, see, now you're going too far, but yeah, the other part, I like that.
It didn't take long, you see. It's a thin veil of courtesy until the regional rivalries creep in. That's the way it's always been on this show. Let's talk about the LCQ, because at least you guys had a tournament. That's pretty sick, I've got to say. A low bar, but still an achievement nonetheless in the grand scheme of things, especially how things went elsewhere.
I mean, I'm glad that you guys just spoke about SMB, because going into this, I honestly thought they were either going to win it or they were going to self-sabotage.
So
that was
true,
like
bestie.
Yeah.
I thought that too.
I honestly, I felt like the only way that they weren't going to win it is if they end up self-sabotaging somehow. And I feel like that did happen. And I listened to what you guys speak about it just now, everything Mitch said. Yeah, I think on paper, that is one of the strongest teams, not just in EMEA, but in the world. Mm-hmm. But it's just a shame that like they couldn't come together. I mean, if you're going to make a super team, you can't have 5 superstars. That's not how it works. Like there's going to be 2 or 3 players that aren't going to be superstars. But I think in the end, all of them wanted to be superstars and it just didn't work out, which is a shame because, the best teams win tournaments, right? Not the best players necessarily. There's loads of great players that have never won anything. But you have above average teams that could get there. So for me, it was a little bit sad. But on the positive note, Team Liquid, what? Why are they so good? They're so good.
Who the fuck? Imagine Navera. I turned on my TV. I got on YouTube and I was watching it, and then Navera gets a motherfucking ace. I don't watch Counter Strike, so I'm like, okay. I don't watch Counter Strike. So to be completely honest, I'm like, okay, there's a lot of hype because of CS. Whatever, screams, brother. It's that typical CS fanboy bullshit. This motherfucker is disgusting. By the way, Link has been popping off as well. This Liquid team is like the most NA European team I've ever seen in my life. I'm going to be honest, Sentinels are from our region. I like Envy. Liquid are my favorite team in Valorant right now. They're so fucking fun to
okay.
watch.
Take it.
They're so fun to watch.
Okay.
How are they to cast, Mitch? Did you get to cast a Liquid game?
No, we did not. They we were all in the lower bracket, so I think they were like pretty much the only team that we didn't cast. It's good fun.
You had some good
Damn.
games though, didn't you? You had some
Oh
shit
yeah,
shows.
the first 2 days of our cast were so much fun, Yinsu. Fuck me, I hated casting Oxygen day one. That was the worst time of my life. Oh my god.
You know what you should do, Mitch?
At least
here's
you
an
got
idea.
to work more.
You might get a greater exposure to different games if you let Riot mix and match you as casters. What do you think about that? What do you think about them just sort of fucking getting
Let me
everything and just
cast. Get me
throwing
on.
I'll
them
be honest,
together
man.
and seeing what comes
I
out?
had my couple of days, my couple of months mixing and matching, and it was stressful. It was stressful adjusting to new people all the time.
Yeah.
I would do it, but if I don't have to, that's fine. That's fine by me.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to see how you're empowered to become a better caster when you've got a consistent partner. Anyway,
Weird, isn't it?
Okay, so what? Okay, look, broadly, because I had no idea. I didn't follow Counter Strike, right? So, not for a while anyway. So I really didn't know what to expect from this announcement. And obviously, anyone who doesn't understand what kind of player Nivera was maybe thought there was maybe an element of gimmickiness to having two brothers on the same team and why this sort of happened. But what were your expectations, sort of Mitch and Yinsu, for Nivera coming in? And were they met, exceeded? What did you feel seeing this first showing from Team Liquid?
I'll say that maybe my opinions are slightly skewed. I did watch a fair bit of him in Counter-Strike. I actually interviewed him back in the days last year on Team Vitality. And the unanimous feedback that I've gotten from people, not necessarily people that played with him, but at least people that played against him, is that he's got insane amount of potential. He's really, really good. And the feedback that I got from the people that have played with him, at least the ones I know that got on with him, said that he was incredibly hardworking. Like, he had insane work ethic and nothing really phased him. And then when he moved to Valorant, I won't lie, I kind of knew that he was playing Valorant for a hot minute, but the last time I accidentally leaked something, I got railed, so I'm not going to leak that even by accident again. Can I just say, I didn't even leak anything. It was something that Zeke going to G2 was like a common knowledge, and I didn't even say that. I kind of referred to it and I backtracked and I just moved on. But everybody hated me for that for some fucking reason. It's not like we have anybody that leaks stuff all the time anyway in the scene.
No. Why would that be? No. We've got journalists who assist with signal boosting the official announcements.
Yeah, so
You know what I
I sat on this Nivera thing for like 2 months. I just sat on it. And then when he officially joined and when teams are pracked against him, because there was a lot of kind of rumors on what he was going to play, like what agents he's going to play.
Sorry, you didn't leverage this knowledge that you had for clout and try and pass it off as journalism?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I got a shirt from Team Liquid, that was my hush money.
Okay.
But everybody was speculating, what agent is he going to play? What role is he going to play? And he was cracking in scrims. He was playing all the agents that we saw him, Sentinels and also Viper. And everybody said that he was very, very good. Like, people were like, okay, this guy is not just a gimmick. He's not just kind of moving into Valorant for any kind of ulterior motives. He didn't let in the back door, let's put it that way. Like, it's not like he skipped a few steps and got picked up for no reason. Everybody was kind of excited to see him play in terms of what I heard from scrims. And I was really glad to hear the role that he was playing, because it showed that like Team Liquid are not just fucking around, they're not kind of trying to reinvent the wheel and be like, let's make Nivera play Jet all of a sudden and Scream go on stage, They were like, okay, we're gonna mold him into our team, as opposed to being like, oh, he's a guy that's really explosive, so let's throw you on a duelist and we'll just run like triple duelist or some stupid shit. So I think that really helped, that the approach from Sliggy and the team, and I really, really enjoyed the way they played. And as Velly said, they were super entertaining, exciting to watch. And I'm gonna make a really bold statement right now. If Liquid do well at Champions, I firmly believe Nivera is going to be the next Nats in terms of how smart and how insane he's going to be. Yeah.
Yo. I was waiting for Yunsu to finish talking because what I was gonna say, North America, we're known for our aggressive duelists and the best duelists in the world. Fuck anyone that thinks differently, right? But Europe is creating an identity that's really fucking scary. Nats, Nevera, you guys have the best backline in the world.
We
when
got
it comes
smart
to Valorant.
players, bro. We use our brains.
It's terrifying. Like seeing what Nats did was like, holy shit. And now seeing Nevera, Killjoy popping off like that. I'm a motherfucking Killjoy that does stuff like that. That is insane. That is terrifying.
This is the guy, by the way, that was saying
Europe
you don't need
has an
sentinels
identity now.
in Valorant. That's what Velly was just telling us earlier on the show, that he doesn't think that they're necessary.
What isn't?
I don't think they're
Now
necessary.
he's like,
I don't
it's
think
the
they're
future,
necessary.
man. It's the
No.
bloody
I'm saying
hell.
Europe is creating an identity. I don't think they're necessary, but they're fucking good on them. It is terrifying.
they're
And
not
NA,
necessary in
our
North
Sentinels
America.
aren't like that. We have a Proto, we have Dapper, but like a lot of them is kind of like sometimes a hit or miss, especially like when it comes to individual prowess. In Europe, though, it's another fucking
We're smart, bro. We're smart.
NA doesn't know how to play Sentinels. That's all I'm
hearing.
hearing.
Your back line is just as good as our best duelist, and it is fucking terrifying.
And don't forget Mystic on LAN on the Viper, Mitch. You know how
don't
that
get
was.
Me started.
Oh, I know how it's gonna be.
I mean, Mitch, I would love. I've been waiting to this. I'd love to pick your brain about this incredible matchup we had between Anubis and Oxygen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you best fucking believe, baby.
I could not.
All right, our book of grudges gets longer and longer. Let's talk about Oxygen versus Anubis here, because Mitch,
me.
you said you weren't a fan of casting Oxygen. Let's talk about it.
I wanted to fucking cry this whole game.
This was
honestly.
fun.
I think Toronto's the worst Jet I've ever seen in my life. That includes my ranking games when I was playing with Silvers. I think Unity. I don't ever want to watch that man play this game again. It was
Do you
fucking
have a
painful.
death wish, Mitch?
God, dude,
Do you
I don't give a
understand
shit.
who
I do
you're
not give a shit.
insulting
These
right
people
now?
pissed me off so fucking much. Watching them play Valorant was like watching fucking League of Legends players trying to play Rocket League for the first time using a joystick. It was fucking horrible.
My Turkish brothers are gonna come for you, Mitch.
That's
They're gonna come
perfectly
for
fine.
you.
I've already got a million DM requests about fucking gun buddies. It's nothing that Turkish fans can scare me with these days.
Yeah, Mitch
Oh,
did get
fucking
me a
damn it.
gun buddy today, by the way. Chat, if you want a gun
don't
buddy,
fucking-
definitely
I've
get
been
in touch
Sarah,
with him.
God damn it.
I
But
want to
everyone
say, I'm going to go with the opposite direction and say that Zisto is one of the most underrated and appreciated players we've had in this region this whole year. I think he's always been consistent. I think he always has the right ideas too. Like sometimes the execution isn't the best, but I think I would say he was quite ahead of the meta in Turkey. Like everything that he was doing when we saw him back at like stage 2, stage 3. I always felt like you're watching like a European player, not necessarily a Turkish player, because a lot of the Turkish teams, not anymore, they used to like hate the meta. They'll be like, oh, everybody's playing Astra. Fuck Astra. We're not going to play Astra. I don't know why. They're not as bad as that anymore. But I do want to say, yeah, it wasn't the best performance from Oxygen. I think we expected more. But I do feel like Zisto is criminally underrated. And it bothers me so much because he's never in the conversation for anything. And I actually like Toronto, Mitch. I know you're going to disagree with
dude.
me.
I saw this guy
But I
buy it
like
up like
him.
30 times. I think he got 1 kill with it. He genuinely missed every shot. Yassine didn't even know how to fucking dash with Jet. He was firing a shot, dashing forward, and I still preferred his Jet. I don't know how. It was horrendous. I will say, all right, let me give some props because I'm a very negative person. I hone in on the things that really pissed me off, which were Toronto and Unity. But I'll say that Mitez throughout this whole tournament was one of the best players that we had showcased. That dude needs to find a damn good team. Zistao could be on it with him. I keep Glow. Sure, he kind of tapered off towards the end of it, but overall, solid player. 3 of them, fine. But man, Toronto and Unity, they got fucking work to do.
Yeah, I like them. I don't have a death wish. I don't have a death wish.
Mitch
Well,
is
why
on one,
why
yo.
don't you go insult Brazilian Counter-Strike next, Mitch? What was your
I'll
I've
answer?
next
been there
step,
before. Don't worry. We've fucking been there.
Turkey, it's Turkey, Poland, and then Brazil.
Yeah,
that's the
I'll
list.
say though,
The Holy
I got
Trinity.
respect. I got respect for your team ones, your Sharks, all these kind of guys in CS over in Brazil. If we want to talk about Valorant, I will get some death wishes sent my way. That's for damn sure. But that's a story. That's a conversation for another day. When it comes to Turkey, majority of their players are so damn good that you just got to step it up. And being a Jet that can get 1 opening kill for every 13 that they lose, ain't fucking good enough.
So we have our eliminations here. So obviously Anubis get eliminated in this matchup, despite Oxygen being a little painful to watch, as you put it. Shalachvi returning to this Anubis team doesn't give them remotely enough firepower to make a difference here. Credit to them, obviously, as they are by all accounts a collegiate level team that are competing in a tournament like this, which is a big deal. Now OBG, correct me if I'm wrong, but they acquire sufficient numbers of players to get this LCQ spot.
FPX died for this, basically.
Yeah.
Just think of it that way.
God, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Only 13-0 the tournament. Let's go.
Right, so Supermassive Blaze versus One Breath Gaming, and
I'm gonna defend them. I'm here to just defend everybody. They were together for a week. Like,
okay, Van.
They were
we still have
together
Van
for
Silly
a
here. What
week.
the fuck
Okay,
is going
Van
on?
Silly.
No,
we got
Van
Velly in. I thought we were free.
Van Silly would be here and be like, you know, Valorant is the real winner. They are winners here. They were the loser. They were the loser. But in their defense, they had 1 week. Like, I mean, yeah, there are rosters that could pull their shit together in a week, but I don't know. I think my expectations for them is just to see if they could compete. I think CIS in general still have some kind of growing problems. But Na'Vi, for example, even Forza, before they disbanded and did this, I thought they were definitely improving, like loads and loads and loads. I just think we need to give a team more than 1 week before we shit on them. Give them a month and then we can shit on them.
100% with you. I'm not going to come in here. I said it on the cast as well that I think OBG as individuals, they have so much potential that they have shown in the past. It's not even like unrealized. It's just that in this roster, they had a week to prep and they looked like dog shit. Their fundamentals were not there as a team, and that is to be expected when you have such limited prep time. I think it's just a team that shouldn't have been in the tournament at the end of the day.
Yep. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, we'll allow that. We'll let that one slip. I was impressed by Futbolist here. Let's talk about G2 in the matchup against Futbolist, who
What happened?
never really. I mean, I don't know if they. I know they've always been a fixture in the Turkish region, but I didn't really think that they were much of a high flyer in that regard. What a fucking series!
Yeah,
I mean, we can talk about Breeze in just a sec. We can open up and talk about Icebox here, which we know has like been a bit of a G2 go-to, where Nookie is able to do his thing. They still lose. So
I mean,
really weak
before
start.
this, they got 13-0'd by Gambit. So, you know, maybe there are still other things they need to fix. But I think Futbolist, they have a 9-man roster. So, like, if a 6-man roster buff is not enough, they've got 9 people. And I think them bringing Kiwi was insane. We made this joke on the broadcast, but, like, I firmly believe there's some kind of a factory somewhere in Turkey where they're just pumping out jets. They're like, oh, you want to play Valorant? Okay, we're going to train you to play Jet, and then we're going to debut you in a tournament. You're going to be fucking insane. And I think that's what Kiwi was. It was really delightful to watch, because I think it's been a while since we've seen a Turkish Jet that surprised us. Because I think with Izzy and CNED and Russ and stuff, we know what they can do at this point. So it's like, oh, it's just another Turkish Jet. But I think Kiwi did super, super well. This was his tournament, in my opinion.
Yeah, he came into the roster super last minute, and he was tested in this series that we're looking at up against Kellogg's, who had already proven himself on the international level against the best of the best. This guy proved that he doesn't give a fuck. He is actually just nuts. There's no choke ability there or anything like that. And he comes in, Kiwi that is, and looks absolutely unbelievable. Like, he blew us away because we thought he was just going to be some dude that came in, you know, last minute addition to the roster. We didn't think that Futbolists were going to do anything. I even made the statement, I think it was on here, that team just fundamentally shouldn't be there. You know, it feels like they've snaked their way into the tournament because of points that they accrued within the Turkish region, and yet were never able to deliver when it came to, you know, stage 2, stage 3, or top level games. So I really didn't. I thought this was another OBG. I really did. I had them and OBG going out straight away, and OBG stuck with it. They really did what they were expected to do. But Futbolist came out of nowhere with really good play. That was the thing that blew me away. Kiwi was nuts, sure, but the structured play that they had, their fundamentals were off the fucking charts. I really enjoyed watching that team. And I'll be honest, when I saw that on the calling card that I was going to be casting it, you know, the next day, I was like, okay, cool, it's going to be a quick day. You know, G2 are just going to slap them around, and they didn't. And I got to give huge props to them for that.
So we have 2 teams. We have 2 teams with high-flying Jet players, and we have Breeze in the map pool. This was always going to be a barn burner, but this is pretty fucking extreme. What do we have? 44 rounds in total played.
This was so
Unreal.
fun. This was literally. This is you and Tom, right, Mitch? This was so fun to
No,
watch.
actually, this was Harry Kukuka.
Oh,
as I
yeah,
recall.
it was Harry and Kukuka, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
man, this was so much fun.
That was a big test for them as well. They just jump on the cast together first time, and then Harry's first ever cast as well.
Oh, God.
And it's like, yo, yeah, 22-20 game of breeze. Enjoy.
Jeez.
I will say though, they got really lucky compared to what I thought they would, because as I said, when I saw this game on the sheet, I was like, oh, that's such a dog shit game. And yet G2 played well. I'm not going to come in and say that they choked, they fucked up, anything like that. I give 100% credit to Futbolist for how far this went. We know G2 are a solid team, but every single one of these players blew me away in stark contrast to some of their other region men.
I honestly think if Futbolist had more experience with Kiwi, I think they would have won this series. Like, I really think they should have won Breeze.
Jeez.
Yeah,
What would that mean
it was
for
sad
G2
that they didn't.
then? This ambitious project with ostensibly a lot of money behind it.
I have a couple of theories, but I truly believe in the post LAN kind of blues we've gotten. Like Liquid and Fnatic both went to Iceland, both bombed out of stage 3 qualifiers, didn't go to Berlin. G2 at SMB both went to Berlin. They have to play at LCQ, they both bombed out. That's not a coincidence in my opinion. Even in some of the other regions, we've seen similar things. V1, for example, over in North America, they had a great tournament at Iceland. I think that is definitely a thing. I think I was speaking to Mel about this from Cloud9 White, and she said that, you know, psychologically you have like peaks of your competitive drive. You can't really control like at what point you're most motivated, but normally throughout a tournament, you know, it stays up there. But for a lot of pro players, once the tournament's ended, they don't know how to control this adrenaline and these emotions and these like motivations they have to compete. So that leads to burnout, and especially if you don't monitor yourself enough or your team, or if you had a bad tournament. You know, the way SMB and G2 both also lost at Berlin, I think it could have contributed to them maybe not being able to get together and be as cohesive. I don't think it's a big issue, obviously, with the side of SMB. We know what's happened there. But with G2, I don't see that as like a failure or an issue. I think they just have to get on with it and come back in 2022. But I have heard there might be roster changes. I don't agree with it. I don't know if it's true. But if somehow they do make a change, then I think it's kind of silly and stupid. Again, like it's pure rumors I've heard. Like it could just be people making shit up. But I hope not. You know, I think they finally got to a place where they can actually develop and build players. But at this part, like after Champions, think about the roster mania that's going to be after Champions. Like surely you are going to feel like the grass is greener, right? Like you are going to feel like, oh, what if we just bring in this person with that person? For example, all of the players on Guild, like would you realistically not bring in Leo? Like if Leo is going to be available on the table and you have the money to afford getting Leo, I don't know. Like I don't agree with changing rosters like this, but you can see why teams would, especially when like every motherfucker is going to be a free agent pretty much after Champions. I feel.
I mean, Carlos put 3 of his League of Legends players on the fucking free market, right? When they
G2
they qualify for Worlds, and they're all like, what was it, by fucking Caps and Records were a part of that, or I don't know, like they're.
Oh no, like, Caps is staying. Caps is good. Like he, is all good for him. But I know what you mean.
Sense.
Like,
yeah.
G2, the way they operate, they're the Yankees of esports, right? I mean, they're gonna try to buy their.
That means nothing to me.
Woo, but it's scary though. That's the thing. I don't think G2 should have a team change. In reality, G2, they haven't failed in any metric whatsoever for a team that was put together at the time they did. They were able to go over to Berlin. They had a great showing. I love G2, but the thing is, why not just work it out, build some more chemistry, and see how it works, rather than just trying to continuously buy better players? They're not bad at all.
It does just feel like the whole grass is greener thing. Like I said, like if Leo is on the table, holy shit, like that's got to be, like Mitch, you know what I mean? That's got to be the most valuable and the most sought out of player in whole of EMEA, just alone in that one guy.
100%. He was one of the strongest players that we've had, one of the most versatile as well. Like Leo was fucking nuts. And I think, you know, there was a time when we would sit back and we would look at Yassine, we would look at Safe as well, and moving into different rosters as well as being huge. Draken, and the fact that Leo's come out of nowhere and really taken the title out of all of them. Hell, he didn't even top frag a lot of the maps yet. It was just the general impact that he had. you are looking. If you've got a blank checkbook, yeah, you're looking to sign this dude for sure.
I mean, I'm not saying that Guild should break up at all. Like, I don't believe in that either. I think they
100%.
still have potential in them. But, you know, fact of the matter is, if you have the resources and you want to bring in an upgrade, like SMB, half of them are free agents. Like, if you want to bring in Russ, if you want to bring Pora, Turco, all these players, it kind of makes sense if you want to like build a super team again. But I'm with you guys. I don't think you can just build a super team. Like, it does not happen overnight.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that it's inevitable at this point. Like, people are going to make roster changes no matter what.
A question I have, Sue, and this is a genuine question. It will sound kind of funny.
God,
though.
here it comes.
Is Bonkar the best or the worst player in the world? Like, genuine. I don't know what to make of this dude, because on the one hand, statistically, he is. I genuinely think, at least if you limit the amount of maps to like over 300 maps, I think he's statistically probably the worst player in EMEA, possibly the world. And that's not even a joke. The dude's straight dog shit. Like, he cannot rack up numbers. No, hold on.
Oh
I'm talking
God.
purely statistically right now. He is absolute dog shit. I don't think there's anyone that could disagree. I don't think Bonkar could disagree with that. But here's the thing. He's been on this roster that has achieved a lot. And okay, they've never been to the big events. They've never been to the top of the top. But the reality is, they've been pushing pretty damn close. And from what we hear, it's not because of the dude's aim that he's on this roster. It's not because of his positioning or anything, his Nats level flanks. It's none of that bullshit. It's because he brings so much structure and depth to the team in the backlines. That makes me question, if you're willing to lower the bar in terms of individual performance, and I don't mean to say like he's, you know, gold. Like, he is pretty damn good. But when you compare him to any of the players in the top 10 teams outside of himself, there's a handful that even come close to being as statistically poor as he is. So then the question is, how has he been on this roster for so long? And that's where it's like, well, see, a coach, sure, but he can't give mid-round calls then. He can't actually be as hands-on as he would be. Maybe, you know, drop to the Hunden role of a coach is the thing, but that was exactly what Hunden was known for before the cheating. Was to build up IGLs, was to play on teams and be able to actually get players, even though he statistically would be dog shit as well, he would bring so much to the mid-round calls and he would get so much out of players in the moment that it was worth keeping him around. Honestly, I think if Bonkar is still on this roster come 2022, he's got to be one of the best players out there and will never get the credit statistically for it. I think even now, the fact that he stayed as long as he did with the performances is actually crazy.
Bonkar is my spirit animal. 100%. He is me. He was me on every COD team.
That's really, really mean about Bonkar.
Come on.
Uber, that's too far, right? Like what Mitch said, you know, don't cross the line. Don't cross the line.
Uber, come on, man.
Yeah,
Jesus,
come on.
Lay off.
Come on, he's not that bad, Uber.
Can we bring up this? Graphic again?
I want to give.
I want to see what we can glean from it.
I want to give some love, because as someone who has consistently seen my IGL partner get shit on every single time Fnatic remotely does anything badly, I don't know, because we don't really know the ins and outs of this team. Like, his teammates always defend him, rightfully so, and they're always coming out and giving us a little bit more insight. But from the way, like, I've seen people literally say to Boaster, like, you're lazy dog shit, you need to get kicked. Me knowing that he works like 16-hour days every single day since the day this game came out, you know? So I have a different perspective of like the ins and outs, like the strat making, the calls, and like,
that's kind of what I'm saying, though.
Having to sacrifice your aim because your job, the other things you need to do are so important. I don't know how much micromanaging that you need to do on Guild, though. That's the other thing that I'm slightly doubtful about, because realistically,
playing with your scene.
Well, I mean, what do you tell Leo to do that he doesn't already know that he needs to do? But on the side of Fnatic, I know there's like a fair amount of micromanaging goes on into a young roster, and you don't have enough hours in your day to physically like. The duelist can just hop on deathmatch, do some Kovacs, play ranked, you're done. But as a IGL, you have to do so much more than that. You have to come up with strats, plans. You're in meetings. Like, I never knew how many meetings you could fucking have on a Valorant team that's not even to do with the game, which is blowing my mind. So I want to show Bonkar some love. And I did actually want some B2B, like Kakuka was saying, oh yeah, Bonkar to Berlin. I think it was some people kind of misinterpret the whole Banca to Berlin thing. I think it's really wholesome to see like the way the Spanish community also come and like support him, and the way that Kukuka supports him is actually like, well, the way that Kukuka supports him is borderline kind of like psychotic, because she just loves him so much. But I do think that it's a quite a nuanced way to be able to assess IGLs in Valorant. I think it's not comparable to some of the other games, even though it might be similar on the from the outside, comparing to something like CS:GO, because we like to compare them to Counter-Strike IGLs, don't we? But having said that,
why.
I mean,
some of the Counter-Strike IGLs haven't done very well. They haven't done that well.
They suck, and they get overly hyped because like they're past. Oh, he's an IGL. He's an IGL. Fuck that. An IGL.
It's so different. It's so
how well
different.
the team wins.
Yeah.
And Rainbow Six, we don't call people good IGLs
as well.
If they're on
never
bad
teams. Popped off. But he was an IGL on one of the greatest Counter-Strike teams of all time.
But that was then.
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, it's fine. What I was interested in is what we could sort of tease from his, you know, if there was obviously we're dealing a little bit in intangibles, but you know, Mitch, you're pretty outspoken about the guy, and I'm curious to know like what you.
Can we stop showing the stats, man?
Can I just? Well, first of all, Sue, on the point, I completely and fundamentally disagree with the comparison between Bonker and Boaster. They occupy the same roles and they do the same things, but what I'm saying is that this guy, statistically, I mean, let's just look at last 60 days. Boaster averages between 200 and 300 ACS on agents that he plays. Bonker averages below 150 on anything. Like statistically, he is dog compared to anyone else in his role. He is one of the worst players statistically, which is what I'm saying. But that just goes to show this guy is not making a shit.
Okay, all right.
The guy is not making a shit ton of money. He's not being on a team with incredibly talented players and providing nothing. I think that's what really pisses me off when you see like, look, he gets like less than 10 kills in a game. It's kind of funny. We'll all make a joke and it's whatever. There was a point where I think we were like 9 rounds in and he had 0 ACS. I've never seen that before. But it's good to have a little chuckle at that. It's kind of funny when you see a statistical outlier like that. But what really pisses me off is I think what you took from what I was saying, which is not what I meant, is that he's a bad player and that he shouldn't be on this roster. And that really annoys me, because if Guild as an organization, if Guild as a team, and none of those individual players are dumb, are keeping him around, it's not because he's a good aimer. It's not because he's a good player by normal kind of matchmaking standards of what people do actually judge him by, which is the stats and all that. It's because he's bringing enough to the team in the game that he is worth having there, and not having someone who's going to get a few extra kills or a little bit of extra damage. It's that he is actually bringing his value. So I don't know to what extent that's acceptable. I don't know how low the bar of individual skill can go to make up for everything else behind the scenes. But in the case of Bonkar, it must be bloody big for him to be around this much.
That is fair, because like, look, I think we've done an okay job of trying to tease out some of the intangibles that are involved in being an IGL, right? And there are a lot of them, and it's a very hard position to assess for that reason. So, you know, there's nothing wrong. I think we're taking the extra responsibility that an IGL has and the intangible aspects that they must provide to their team, and also, you know, say that like there's statistically here there's not a strong performance, right? And you could argue that if someone's mental bandwidth is taxed to a degree where it impacts their performance by carrying out their IGL duties, so that might actually be a concern, and it's something that they need to work on. I think it's fine. I don't want to spend time shitting on them, but I think talking about this team though, this guild roster, I think is probably a better way to shift our scope a little bit to the macroscopic, because they go up against Team Liquid. We actually showed some of the B-roll there, but they go up against Team Liquid in that upper bracket final, and you know, I think everyone expects Team Liquid to look really, really strong after that first series. But this is really a pretty disappointing showing from Guild in this kind of matchup where you really want them to be competitive, right? You want them to be amongst the top 3 teams at this event.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. They're a team that should be pushing up towards the very top. They did pretty well, all things considered. But I think that when it comes to Guild, like, they are consistently an inch behind where they need to be. That's the problem. It is such a small difference between. I think honestly, if you run back every qualifying game that they've had, they'd be at least 2 out of 3 of the big events, and that's a really sad thing for this roster, because they always come so close, man. It breaks my fucking heart.
Yeah, this is the problem. They always come so close, and I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of the difference is not that major. This is a more consistent team than G2 throughout the year, and that's a fact. Like that's literally statistically a fact, and it kind of annoys me that we never get to see them. It always feels like they can do more, but we just never see it. And I think in this instance, I think they were a little bit unlucky that the Liquid that they faced are the current Liquid, because I do believe that if they faced the Liquid we saw at stage 3, I think Guild would have won that best of 5. And I think I would have loved to see Guild at LAN. I feel like they probably would be able to find that next gear if they were able to play a LAN. But I am worried about next year because, you know, they are a full Swedish roster. If that's how they want to keep it, they don't have very many options if they want to make changes. I'm not saying they should, but if they wanted to like upgrade or try something different, because this is the longest standing roster in our region, maybe with the exception of Gambit, but no one else has been this long standing than this team. So if they wanted to make some changes, they would have to find Swedish players if they want to keep it that way. And I don't, at this point of the game, unless you're like Turkish or Korean, where you're in a region where you physically don't speak another language, I don't think it's a good idea anymore to have a full nation roster. I just think you're limiting yourself so much. Maybe with the like communications and synergy, it's better that you're all from the same country. But we've seen like from some of the other teams doing well. Fnatic, for example, they don't have a full UK roster, and they were, you know, they were all right at LAN, not the worst. And yeah, SMB, they could have been a little bit better, but Ascend don't have a full any like nation roster, and they're a super good team. So I do wonder, do they try and sub someone out for a Swedish player because all of the good Swedish players are already on teams, or do they maybe just throw that game plan out the window? But if they did that, I feel like it's going to take them even longer to come back and compete with the other teams, because the other teams have had a whole year to get used to the fact that they will have to speak English, you know? I don't know what the difference is between like comming in English and another language, but I assume like you need a little bit of time to get used to it. And
I knew an Overwatch team that were all Swedish, and they commed in English specifically because in
that makes
Swedish
sense.
they just fucking carried on way too much, and they talked too much shit, and it was not efficient. So they actually switched to English because their vocabularies were less fleshed out, and they were able to be much more efficient in communicating with one another.
I mean,
they weren't very
Paper
good,
Rex,
so you could...
Paper Rex communicating English. They do.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, but
so, I mean, for as fucked up as our language is, and it is, by the way, yeah, you know, teams have obviously used it to try and overcome some of the issues, you know, like that, to keep things fairly brief. Let's talk about the finals then, because Guild, as you know, this team that's more consistent than G2, beat them in that lower final, and they get themselves another crack at Team Liquid here in a best of 5. And, you know, a chance for them that map pool to really shine a little bit more. A Guild get to play their Haven, they get to play their split in this kind of game, and you know,
they had us in the first
start
half
off on a strong foot.
They did.
They really did. I mean, they get to play Haven first, right? And they look really good out the gates. I'm thinking, hang on, this is looking like a completely different matchup than what we saw earlier on in this bracket.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely had me. I was really worried for Liquid. I still thought Liquid would win 3-2. I thought it wouldn't be a 3-1. I thought eventually they'd win a 3-2. But the way I also felt like maybe Liquid in that map was just like GG go next and just focus on something else. Whereas I think Guild might have given too much gas right off the bat. Obviously, you can't 100% know what happened in the end. But when they did this on Haven, I was like, okay, like what the fuck is going on? Like nothing makes sense in this region anymore. It confused me a lot.
And you know,
Podcast had one of those once in a blue moon, just off games by the looks. Generally, he looked really good at this event.
Yeah, Sue, do you want to make a
Jesus
joke about him being kicked?
Oh, stop. Oh my god, stop.
Oh, Lord.
Yo, I'm still not over that, by the way.
We can reenact the death segment if you want.
It still haunts
Liquid
me.
might have to change someone.
You know, I still have players in my DM saying like, oh, remember that time when you were like a cunt to X, Y, and Z? I'm like, why do you need to remind me about this? It's like once every moon cycle, I get a couple of people just bring it up randomly. But I'm very happy for Dom. I'm glad that he's been doing well.
I love the dude because I was right after that because
he's turned into a robot. Mitch is a robot in my ear. I don't know if you guys can hear him properly. But
Yeah, I got robot as
you
well.
got that's KO.
I thought it
Robot
was
or
my
Sue
ghetto
Robot?
ass internet.
Okay, I think it's Sue, right?
No, you're still a robot. You're still a robot. Mitch has gone full bot.
It's okay. Hold on. This is it might actually be the Discord channel we're in. Oddly enough.
Alright.
Oh, we're back. You guys talk.
Oh, I did.
Hello?
You guys sounded completely fine to me. It was just Mitch.
Oh, this is fucking bizarre. All right, let's
The
let's try
fucking
a different Discord
Europeans,
channel.
right?
Hold on.
Exactly.
Let's try a different Discord channel.
Oh, they can hear you. Okay, it was just me then. Go on,
Okay,
Mitch.
wait.
I think
She's
it was just-
good. Welcome
Alright.
back, Insu.
Maybe you can hear
Oh
me
wait,
now,
what?
Sue.
What did I?
Yes,
You
yes,
couldn't
it's
hear
fine.
me
We
either.
back.
What is going on?
All right,
Right.
everything's fine. Everything's good. We can jump in. What I was gonna say was, aside from the Sulcus jokes, when you look at Bonker, actually had an insane map on Haven as well. He looked really good. He was constantly. The thing I loved about Guild on Haven was how they pushed and pulled the map. And they were. There was one round where you had, I think it was Draken who was playing Cypher, go down on C-Long, pop a trap wire there. He had one on B from the early round, and then he rotated around to A. They 4-man stacked over on the A side. We saw them do this a couple of times and leave Bonkar inside a garage solo holding. At that point, the man is literally holding 66% of the map by himself. That is insane. Obviously, there's trap wires down, but his responsibility is to cover that and to be basically sandwiched in by opponents. And he was still able to do a really good job of holding down. I like that idea from Guild as well of just using, like, they had a lot of gamble stacks that turned into late round pushes. It gave them a lot of information to play off of, and they understood, okay, if we're going to heavily stack up one side of the map and under the assumption, I don't know whether it was pre-match assumption or something in the round that made them think it was going to be an A play, but they read into some sort of tendency a lot of the times when it came down to these teams having less time to prepare for Liquid and still seeing that level of sort of reading their strat book and not overcommitting towards one side of the map. So, for example, if they stack up the A side, they leave Bonkar alone over towards C. I realize I'm doing this kind of backwards, so let's go that way. This whole side of the map, they were willing to completely give up the control. They were willing to avoid the fights. Bonkar was patient enough to not over-engage and end up getting himself killed, which a lot of players who are in that position will do. They'll get a little bit greedy to try and take a fight. And that was even more important because of his paranoia usage, which I know a lot of people are going to be complaining about Omen. George, looking at you in particular, and they fucking hate him. But when it came to, I would challenge everyone to go back and watch both games that we saw of Guild versus Liquid on Haven and take a look at how these guys played, how they used their paranoia. Every single time that we saw paranoia pulled out by Bonker, it blinded like 2 to 3 players and allowed Yassine to just get in their face and destroy them. It was so much fun to watch. It was something that we were constantly calling out when it came to the preview. I think the Futbolist game on Haven as well.
I mean, Bonkar's always been like that. When he played Breach, he never missed a fault line.
True.
Like, I've never seen one time where his fault line didn't get someone. It was just like the most annoying thing to watch. But for me, I think in terms of Liquid on the other side, this is the most convincing I felt about this team going into an international tournament. I think their qualifier for stage 2 going into Iceland, I know they won that, but even then I was a little bit like, oh, Fnatic didn't do that well in the grand final and Liquid looked good, but I didn't think they looked like the best. Whereas in this scenario, I'm hella excited to see them on LAN. And I'm selfish because I want to meet Scream. I've never met Scream in real life. And I was like, come on, Liquid, just win so I can meet Scream. But yeah, I'm excited to see them on LAN. I think they're definitely going to be super, super hard. But also, this is a question I'm sure you guys don't know the answer to, but I just want to like throw it out there. But the seeding and the groups in terms of champions, does this mean that Team Liquid are the 4th seed coming out of EMEA? Because if they are the 4th seed and they end up being in the situation that Envy were in, Team Liquid have a free ticket to the quarterfinals. This is a free ticket. Like this is the best 4th seed in the world, like 100%. Actually, I think this is better than most of the other regions' 1st seeds. But yeah, this is going to be kind of crazy how the groups work out. But I also think Fnatic might accidentally get fucked by being the 3rd seed, because we saw like how Ascend and SMB got fucked in a Masters Berlin.
Sure.
So
yeah,
Liquid might just be in a group with like the way the Envy were. We're like the number 1 seed from Brazil, the number 1 seed from like APAC or something, and they're just fucking chilling. They're just gonna go straight to the quarterfinals. Yeah.
This is a situation where you're more scared about the other seeds in your region than you are of the top seeds in other regions.
Yeah.
And like a situation where you get two teams from one region in the same group.
They better not do that again. That
They
was
might both
stupid.
Yeah, they might both get. Well, here's the problem, right? What arbiter goes in and goes, well, I think it's pretty evident that the number 1 seed in Brazil is worse than the number 4 seed in Europe. So let's let the record account for this, and let's just create a ranking now. Like I mean, whoever's job that is, I don't envy them because they have to honor the seeding system, even if Liquid is going to be better than the top seed from any other region, maybe instead of NA or Korea. So it's that's going to happen. I'm almost certain they're going to get fucked. Or rather, that Fnatic might be more likely to get fucked.
I think they will because they're the number 3 seed. So for somehow they'll be in a group with like Sentinels, Vision Strikers, and Bren or something, and they're all gonna get fucked together. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna just gloat and say that EMEA have by far the best 4 teams at champions. Like not even close.
What?
Yeah.
Yensu, I love you, but that's where you be
by
on that
far.
bullshit.
It's not even close.
That NA
Not
happened,
close.
right?
Well,
Okay.
wait.
Real
How
quick,
did,
Velly, who's your favorite team?
Gambit wins one event, and then Yensu starts smoking.
No,
out the
no, no,
pipe,
hold
and
on.
then Mitch is,
if we do a head-to-head of like actually NA versus EU, so we include like G2 Sentinels, we include like Fnatic, V1, all of this stuff, we're still better.
Velly, isn't your favorite team?
V1 ain't in that conversation.
Hold
so
up.
you behind, baby girl.
Hold up.
Whoa.
Your favorite team is an EU team. What are you talking about, Velly? You even agree that EU's best.
Yeah.
That's because I'm a professional and I'm not a fanboy in teams in my own region. But
I have
Playboy.
Velly, I have eyes.
Sentinels?
I have eyes.
Sentinels. All right, first off, let's
Well, he's not going to say Sentinels are number 1 again, is he?
Let's clear the record. Sentinels would have beat the shit out of Gambit.
No, fuck
Number
no.
2.
Not
We
even
still got
close.
Envy in that lineup. We still got Envy in the lineup. And then don't let a team like XSet come up. Oh, it's a wrap. Listen,
Yo, XSet IGL is literally European. Your
G2.
The best
Okay, that's
XSet
fine.
player
We
is
import
European.
G2 can't even compete with any of the NA teams. So I don't even know why you named them first off, Yensu, okay?
Wait.
We like them, but they ain't that good.
Wait, how many
They can't.
NA teams were in the semifinals of Berlin again? I can't remember.
Yensu,
I can't remember.
Fight you, Yensu. Okay, I'm gonna fight you.
I can't remember who won
pretty-
Berlin, guys. I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure G2
We'll
beat
see.
Sentinels.
Gambit
and then
won.
Yeah.
Gambit won.
Didn't even drop a map.
Gambit were better than Envy, but that was the Hastro curse, man.
What about G2
Oh,
beating
okay.
Sentinels?
It was because of their
That
star
game
signs
didn't
and
matter. You count that game?
Yeah, of course they count
Sue,
You
that.
talking
honestly,
about practice? That was a glorified scrim.
for fuck, Mercury was in retrograde during the event. How the fuck were Sentinels ever supposed to win? They traveled, so they absorbed the rays from the moon, and that it offset their tempo. And it's like, if they made it to the grand finals, they would have won, because then Mercury would have been less affecting them. And it's like, it's so obvious.
Mercury
Velly,
has some Gatorade.
lay off the fucking hash,
ahead,
bro.
Mitch.
It's
I will
doing
say
shit to your
that.
brain. I don't know
I
what
will
you're
also
talking
say
about.
that.
It's too
Mitch,
much.
there's one thing I gotta say, Mitch. You want one of these? All right?
Honestly, I think EMEA top 4.
That's okay.
Yeah. I think EMEA's 4th seed. I think Team Liquid are better than Sentinels. So
Oh,
there you
that's
go.
brave. Okay, I'll give it to Liquid. I'll give it to Gambit, but that is it for Europe, period.
What do you
Done
mean? What
deal.
about Fnatic
We'll find
and
out.
Ascend? What
What
about
about
Fnatic?
Fnatic? What about
Ascend?
Ascend? What about them?
What do you mean, what about them?
They don't impress me.
You can't just pretend like they don't
to one land.
exist.
Fnatic went to one land, what was it, 6 months ago? And then what happened?
Yeah,
Exactly.
okay,
Done deal.
I mean, you
Yes.
can't say that by any
Look
team
at
that
Uber,
has
by
a
the
dick.
way.
Nah. I think
Uber, how do you feel about this?
We'll let
what?
the land performance speak for themselves. But I firmly believe at EMEA, unless the bracket is EMEA versus EMEA again, I firmly believe there is no way another region beats us at champions. Like at this point, no happening.
You have 4 representatives, right? For EMEA.
Yeah.
There's a good chance you guys end up cannibalizing yourself in some way or another.
Yeah, in semifinals
Like
it's
we
fine.
did.
Semifinals
Maybe,
is
okay.
Gucci. But like group stages where that's a piss take. That's a piss take.
I mean,
there's
there's
4
what?
groups and 4
The only
EMEA
team
teams.
that
that
could beat the best
doesn't
team in
mean
the
that all
world is the
4
NA
European
team.
teams get distributed 1 per group. That's the problem with the
Except G2.
seeding, is that
Will also be that.
Oh.
Yeah.
because the
I'm
seeding would be
honestly-
like
Even Ascend nearly beat 100 Thieves, and you have about 530
Nearly.
years of LAN
Nearly.
experience on
Nearly.
100 Thieves.
Okay,
Yo,
nobody
when
ranks
100
100 Thieves
when
up
100 Thieves
there.
were playing Counter-Strike, CNED wasn't even born. Like,
We
this
didn't talk
is, and
about
they
no
nearly
motherfucking
beat them.
Counter-Strike.
And
Yo,
they nearly beat them.
first off, Mitch, do you rate 100 Thieves as a top 3 team in North America? Little Mitch, European Mitch. Yes, Little Mitch. Do you rate 100 Thieves as a top 4 team in North America?
If
Be
100
real.
Thieves were in
Don't cap.
EMEA, they
Mitch,
wouldn't have
don't
qualified.
cap.
Let's
Don't
put it that
lie.
way.
Nah, say it. Look at the smile, baby.
I want
Say it
to.
with
I
your
want to say
chest.
yes. I want to say yes. I really want
wanna?
to say yes, but no, maybe.
Also,
no.
can we
Exactly.
clear something up real quick? I have beef with Water Shallow Wet in chat who says, don't give EMEA extra chances. They have too many slots. Do you know why we have a 1 extra slot? Do you know why that
Fucking
is? Do you
won
know
the
why
last
we have
event.
14s?
To give the worst region a
won
better
it.
chance.
We won Berlin. That's why we got given an extra slot.
My
It's not like we
camera's
were
too hot
given
right
it.
now.
Too heated.
It's not like we got a
My
hand-me-down. It's not like we just
camera.
got given it.
Velly's
We fucking won the
overheating,
event.
bro.
My
Velly's overheating
camera
with
is
stress.
modding.
Yo,
my
Velly-
camera
Ve-
is modding right
Bro,
now.
I
Velly's
can't
camera's
handle all
got
your
a-
bullshit
Yeah,
about
bullshit
Sentinels, bro. I don't
detector.
blame it.
Yeah, your camera's like, get this guy off. Get this guy off.
God damn it. Okay.
I mean, Velly, unfortunately, your fucking camera tapped out for you, but I don't know what to say.
You fucking flick the lights off.
Oh shit! All right. I'll tell you what. So I guess we basically covered this. Can we just very quickly let's go back and hear what Navera had to say in the interview after Team Liquid won, because I thought it was really interesting.
Was that my
especially talking
interview?
Yes, it
Nice.
was. I
Let's do
believe.
it.
Yeah. Humble brag, right? Yinsu, we get it. We fucking interview Valorant. Right? Let's listen to Yinsu's interview.
Yes.
Are you even verified, Yinsu?
Yep, obviously.
Well, he's
Only
that's fine.
plebs like Mitch isn't verified. Not you,
Oh,
Mitch.
yeah.
Mitch.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
fine. I've been
Go,
verified
Mitch.
long before you guys were born. All right, let's go to the interview. Let's hear what Navera had to say.
It feels so good. Like I don't express, like I don't have a lot of emotions, but this victory is just amazing. Like I'm probably gonna cry in my bed, or it's so fucking so crazy. And yeah, this is my first tournament. I've been playing with Liquid only 3 weeks, and I've been playing Valorant only 5 or 6 months. So I'm still new on the game, and yeah, first tournament, first win. That's crazy.
I want to rewind a little bit and maybe bring the mood down with this question. But since you guys are so good on basically every single map we've seen you, and you've been so confident, what do you think happened on Haven? Because it was a slower start for you than we're usually used to seeing.
We're not playing our game basically. Like we didn't communicate a lot. Like we were still tired. Like not tired, but we were not into the game. Like it's the first game. There was a lot of pressure for everybody. Like it's the grand final. We have to win. So yeah, and we just take a talk outside. Like 2-3 minutes. We just say no pressure. Play our game, and it's gonna work.
Big brother energy, by the way. I relate to that very strongly. For Screen's position, there's no fucking way you let your little brother do his first interview without
Second.
hazing the shit out of him.
Second
Turn
interview.
up there. Second interview.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I mean, you turn up there. You're like, yeah. Don't forget who came first, everybody. All right, I'm still here. But look, I mean, geez, what a successful debut for Navera on this team. You know what I mean? Obviously, still young, still got a lot of potential as well. We don't see too many of these, at least in this sort of short time frame, work out so well. And I think it's fair to say now you have Gambit, Ascend, Fnatic, and Liquid going to champions. That's pretty
Stacked.
fucking scary.
Stacked.
Yeah, you've got extremely good. And look, in fairness, like I will say this: I usually get to enjoy the privilege of impartiality for most of the part, but I think that whatever team that North America sends as their third representative is unlikely to be as impressive sounding as any of those 4 that we just rattled off. I think that's what we're sort of getting at here, especially with the ostensibly best team in the NALCQ just having made a change and looking shakier than they were before, right? I don't think any reasonable person is going to say, yeah, the third NA seed looks really solid. Now, the first and second one's fine. That's fine, but you know
they're okay.
It's going to be a tough road for NA, man. Like it's a top heavy region. Let's just make
That's
that
the
very
story though, right? Because in NA, the thing is, from event to event, we've had teams fall drastically from middle of the pack to down to the bottom and down to the bottom to the top. Like, to be completely honest, I know it might sound fucking crazy to some people, but like genuinely, like I'm thinking like every time there's a new era of a team, I'm thinking like right now it's time for a team like Rise to show up in a big way. Like that's the thing with NA. It's really like a fucking bottle of surprises. Like we don't really know what to expect from Cloud9 Blues. So it's worrisome. At the same time, it's promising when it comes to North America and Europe. You guys are just way more consistent. I will say that. North America, we are not on our consistent shit. We are so top heavy.
100% agree. I think like to build on what Velly said, I think what he was really trying to say is I genuinely think like the fourth best EMEA team will easily smash the best NA. Like I think
yeah,
they
not even close.
Shut
Not
up.
even close.
I think I got that roughly right, Velly, right? It's pretty much TLDR.
Mitch, how about this? How about this? If both of us show up to that event together, let's place a bet. Let's place a bet.
All right, let's do it.
It's gonna be a little bet.
Put Liquid and Sentinels in the same group. Put Liquid and Sentinels in the same group. Come on, Riot, do it.
All right,
do it.
All right, hang on. What you got to come up with a bet then or now? I mean, what's it worth to you?
I wear a shirt. I will wear a shirt with. You guys saw me from my outfits. I wear a shirt with Mitch's face on it, smiling with his fucking thumbs up. And it says, I'm smarter than Velly. He's a dumbass. I don't know, something like that.
Yes.
All right, bro. You know what?
Person. I'm down.
That sounds good to me, man. I'm looking forward to seeing my shirt, my face on your shirt.
Mitch is trying to ink a deal where there's nothing going the other way. So let me just arbitrate this particular agreement.
Okay.
Velly, are you going to make Mitch do the same thing?
Exactly the same thing.
I think Mitch should cast the whole game and just talk about and just be the most biased NA cast ever if they play it against
Europe.
Yeah.
Right.
No. Let's be reasonable now. Yeah, sure. Listen, I'll tell you what.
And they start off this segment with like Velly is the smartest one out of the both of us when it comes to knowing Valorant. Just some cheesy bullshit.
I think Mitch should wear the American flag on his shirt. There you go.
And I'll wear.
We're definitely getting carried away here. Let us go with the shirt idea right now. The condition is what if EU or NA does better, right? If the highest performing team, okay, that's fine. It's locked in, all right.
Sure.
You guys are wearing each other's face on your damn shirts. That says how smart they are.
We can add some spice because the thing is, what if they like don't meet later on in the event, or
what if
like,
Korea wins?
Championship Sunday? Yeah. Right, whatever. So how about this? The first ever NA versus EMEA matchup. We do it.
Team Liquid versus Sentinels, baby.
Cool. And we got to wear it as part. Presuming we're both on the show, we got to wear it as part of the show. Like, you gotta get that out.
Good luck getting Shao to agree to that.
We'll wear it that day, right after the series. Luck. Let's go.
I'm gonna get Velly's face on like a bin bag or something. Then I'll be good. Shao will approve it.
All right, we're locking that one in to some degree because we like wages here. Insu, thanks for joining us on the show. Great to obviously get.
Thank you for having me.
Out a little bit more about EMEA. Always a pleasure.
I love you too, Velly. I love you more than I love NA. There you go.
There, I take it.
We'll take that. All right, Insu, all the best. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
That was a ton
of
fun.
She's so fucking sweet, dude.
Yeah, after she just eviscerated you for half an hour. I'm glad that you can still say that after that. That was great. Obviously, look, I think EMEA is, I think we talk about the consistency of that region. I just think they've got a really strong distribution of incredible teams. Like there's none of them that really seem weak. So, I mean, I'm interested to see what Fnatic come up with. It's been a while since we've seen them. Let's talk about some clips of the week here. Chat, you are going to help us vote on our clip of the week from our specially curated selection from our finest clip curators. Yeah, whatever. Let's have a look at the first one here. So this is Nivera's debut. You guys know how this went, but it's what a way to make a splash. Let's put it that way.
Not bad, huh? Not bad. It's only a pistol round at the end of the day, though. But an ace in your first ever competitive round, it's absolutely crazy. You see, like, I think Nivera coming into this had a lot of expectations on him, but there was the caveat that although he'd been playing for like, he said 5 or 6 months, I heard like 7, that he'd been playing ranked and a couple of scrims here and there, but for the most part, he hadn't got any officials, right? And having an official in such a high pressure environment with your brother on the team, which, you know, it might not help as much as you would think. Having someone that's that close to you, that's that successful, and sort of like, I know they have a lot of trust and everything, but it's kind of like judging you, right? He's watching your every move. He's there with you. You don't want to let him down. You don't want to let the team down. So the fact that he still came out swinging like that, I'm sure definitely helped things in the morale count.
Absolutely. Our second clip of the week is, this one has sound, so we'll let this one play out here and enjoy LG's coach Mac popping off at LCQ.
Let's fucking go! This is your
love it. Bring more of it. Inject it in my motherfucking veins, yo. I come from Gears of War. I come from console. Uber, you've been around scenes as well, man. Where you just pop the fuck off, yo. Getting in the opponent's
I got
head.
kicked out of a LAN once. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go, baby. You one of us, man. Yo, popping off on land is what it's all about. Sitting there being proper gentlemen, that shit's boring. Go to Counter-Strike if you want that. But I'm telling you right now, yo, I want to see Valorant lands pop off. Keep it in game. Keep it cool, but still let them know how you really feel.
I mean,
that's what sets
the trash talk
apart.
Berlin was great for that as well. I really enjoyed the across the
Oh
space stuff.
no. When Gio posted that clip where they go, let's fucking go, and like her and Kakuko are like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yo, that's not trash talk. we could do better than that.
Here's the problem though, Mac. It's not a fucking LAN, Mac. He's like, you guys think on LAN. It's not LAN.
It's all lie.
It's not. It's fucking. You're all onliners. You're like, you guys are onliners. Like, you fucking all playing online, mate. Like, did someone not let me in on that? I bet he didn't even fucking know. You know what I mean? Because I don't think the players were told about this in advance. So anyway, so that's how. I mean, that's funny. That adds a bit of extra spice to that clip for me as well, because Mac is just fucking incorrect. And this one is insane. This was F4Q on the ropes against Global Esports. SK Rossi spam in the chat, and 5K saves their bacon.
I gotta say, man, it sucks to see F4Q just disband like this, especially with 5K. This guy in particular. Well, maybe not 5K. I think I'd probably go with Bunny as like my guy.
Is the best.
Yeah, he's absolutely insane. Like his blast pack play is even caught on in EMEA, where it's just like even when you see like an EMEA player go for blast packs, I don't know what it's like in NA, but some people are genuinely spamming in the chat like, oh, it's Bunny. Pretty nuts.
From what I understand though, from like Korean esports, so when it comes to just being mechanically gifted, man, yo, like I said, I love what we do in NA, but just watching what they doing in over there, it's gonna be over, man. But
Yeah.
F4Q disbanding definitely makes me really fucking depressed. Jesus Christ.
Hey, look at that from F4Q or from 5K. Sorry, like his ability to judge in 1vx situations, just feel out the space, feel out the fights in his favor. Pretty cracked.
Chat, if number 2 doesn't win, I got to beef with all of you. Typho already started things off with number 1, but shout out to Imagine because you guys have real time. Oh, let's go. That was definitely the best. Uber, which one did you like the most?
Yeah, see, I liked Max Popoff. He just was wrong. He didn't fucking know it was LAN. Like, you know what I mean? It kind of impacted for me. It's like, you know, when you're trying to trash talk someone, but like the information that you're using to exploit, like verbally against them, like it's just is incorrect. So it doesn't have the same impact for me. You know what I mean? He's fucking calling them onliners when they're playing online. Like, come on, bro. At least get the fucking trash talk right. I can't. I think the 5K clutch was probably my favorite one there. The guy's fucking insane.
Navarro's ace though for his first time, dog. Like that set a tone. Not gonna lie, when I watched that, I didn't watch the whole thing, but when I watched that, yo, I was like, okay, you have Yampy, you have Scream, link me on this bullshit, but now you have a Killjoy doing that in a pistol round to give everybody guns. Like, what the fuck? That was
some
wild,
teams don't even play Sentinels, Velly. It's crazy, you know.
Okay, all right, all right. I'm tired of y'all, man.
He's got you there. He's got you there. I just love the fact that we got 3 clips. We got good representation, right? EU coming in fragging because that's what we're known for. Individual skill coming out of 5K. I mean, that's what Korea's known for. And then NA, all fucking talk as usual.
I can't fucking
Well, you're suggesting that these clips are emblematic of the regions that they come from. Okay.
Oh, and EU comes out on top. What a fucking surprise.
Oh, there
we came in last. You know, fuck you.
Oh, dear. In fairness, next time we'll try and get some actual gameplay from North America, but there wasn't any to fucking see. So, you know,
that one hurt.
I don't know what to really do for you guys about that, guys. I mean, great to have you here, Velly. Man, it's been a pleasure to have you back on the show, dude. We've missed you a ton. What's coming up for you? What's coming up?
What's coming up for me? A whole lot, man. I'm working different games. I'm working split game. I got the LCQ that hopefully things work out with the dates and I get to do that. But I do want to say this, man. Ever since I did leave Valoranting, I want to say that I'm really fucking proud of what you guys have been doing. I peep in, I talk to Man Silly, I check out the viewership, what you guys are doing. It's fun. Like having Mitch in is fucking perfect. You guys are fucking killing it. Keep killing it. I love the pics from the studio. I fucking love you guys. I don't know if Jason, Scott, and everybody can hear me, but I'm gonna drop my ass up to Arizona one day, and I'm just gonna pop up over there. So I'm looking forward to some hugs and maybe a beer or two. All right. But thank you for having me on, man. It was fun and it was refreshing. I fucking miss it here. Seriously.
Good to have you back. Mitch, now you said you have some events coming up. Can you even talk about those? You said you have some shit in November, right?
No, it's obviously not going to be main circuit. It's in Valorant. I might be dipping my toes into a CS event from what I'm hearing.
Ooh,
Okay.
I'm not the most passionate about CS anymore, but fucking money's money, right? But yeah, when it comes to Valorant, yeah, I have a little bit of something in November. Can't really talk about it yet because it's not announced, but other than that, it's just vacation. It's off season till champs.
Yeah.
Good. Obviously, everyone's anticipation building. We don't have to wait too long for gameplay because now we have an ALCQ that's just been interposed between, EU and champs. So more Valorant. Again, now you can afford to watch everything, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, you can be back next week when we break down more of the run up into LCQ, of course, plenty of news, and there'll be plenty of roster moves I'm quite sure to cover. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Yinsu for coming on the show today. See you nerds next Tuesday, 11 a.m. PT. Till then, have a good one.